Guys, welcome into another episode of Bussin With The Boys. Before we get started, please do me a favor, subscribe, unsubscribe, resubscribe, and comment. It's not a lot for you, but it helps us a whole bunch. Today in this episode, what you're going to see, we're going to hit the intro. Your boy has a Netflix show coming out tomorrow. If you're watching this Tuesday, that means it comes out Wednesday, April 23rd. We have to talk about Lewan Easter Bash 2025. We got the spring tour in Nebraska coming up. We recap Michigan that happened before, and we got some NFL draft talk, including Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter, all of those things. But the creme de la creme, the spot you really want to stay for, is this Marcus Mariota interview. It is truly incredible. Breaking down all of the things that he's gone through, both the highs and especially the lows of his career. Times that he thought to himself, I don't know if I want to play football anymore. Going to see somebody to fix what's going on up top. It is, for me, a guy that was able to play with him and see that stuff in real time. It was an incredible episode for me. I hope you guys enjoyed as well. Again, subscribe, unsubscribe, resubscribe. Let's get to this episode. And also do me a favor. Bert Kreischer, his special Lucky is out now. Go see that on Netflix.
All right, we're good.
Be like, Bussin' with the boys, hanging with the fellas, betting on a game. No woman's gonna tell us what to do, and I've been over here just drinking beer and making that noise. Baby, I'm hanging with the fellas, bussin' with the boys.
Bro.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is episode 325 of Bussin' With The Boys. We have an outstanding episode for you today. Electrostatic to be here alongside me, Will Compton. My name is Taylor Lewan, and we are presented by the number one, America's number one sportsbook, FanDuel Sports. A lot of exciting things in the sports betting world. We got playoff hockey right now. If you haven't heard, I am now a Toronto Maple Leafs fan for the foreseeable future. We won the first game versus the Senators. Also, NFL draft. The boys will be there this weekend. It's exciting stuff. I think there were some odds. Cam Ward?
There are. If you jump, I mean, yeah. Like, look, I think it's a lock that Cam Ward's going to go first overall to the Tennessee Titans. Right now on the FanDuel Sportsbook, he's minus 20,000.
20,000.
Minus 20,000. Abdul Carter, the one who was like also in the running to potentially be the first overall pick, he's sitting at like plus 3,000, I believe. But it is ultimately a lock to go Cam Ward on the FanDuel Sportsbook. This is fun, boys. So let's just say Shedeur Sanders. You can get on the app. You can project guys to go top 10. Top 5, you can build parlays. Shedeur Sanders, if you're picking him to go top 10, he's at minus 230 right now. Top 5 plus 400. Is Mason Graham going to be a top 5 pick? That's at minus 145. Ashton Genty plus 240. You can also select the team who they're going to go with in that specific position. So, for example, the New York Giants sent with the number 3 overall pick. Abdul Carter's on the app right now, minus 480 on FanDuel Sports. Shedeur Sanders plus 470. This is the fun part. You can build out parlays with the players. So you can choose, like, say, Will Campbell. I know he's projected to go to the New England Patriots with Braves. Tyler Warren, a tight end out of Penn State, to go in the top 5 or top 10. You can parlay those picks together and build out parlays. There's also, shout out the boy Chris. He sent out in a little parlay. Shedeur Sanders to be a top 10 pick. Jackson Dart to be a first-round pick. And Emeka Egbuka to go to be a first-round pick. You can parlay those 3 together, and you'll get plus 117 odds on the FanDuel Sportsbook app.
Yeah. And at Bussin' With The Boys, we like our parlays to be in the plus 30,000 range.
We're gonna build
the spice one. We probably will bet all 32. Put that in a parlay.
That's
and then
fun
also
though.
Solo those
Draft night.
Yes, because it is fun. Because for me, when I was watching, and when the Titans were doing relatively well, we were picking that like 18 to 24 range.
Yeah.
It was like, I'm kind of just watching the draft, waiting for my team to pick. And then once they would pick up, like, all right, time to go to bed.
And to go off that, like, you can go each team and select their position. It doesn't have to be the exact player. You can say, like, you know, who's
Jaguars,
somebody in the middle round.
tackle.
Yeah. Jaguars. They're going to pick an offensive tackle, running back, whatever it is. Like, it's a fun little,
That's a fun little game.
Yeah.
A fun game. shout out Chrissy for that parlay. Also, Chrissy had some information in that email that he sent that does piss you off a little bit. It's Cam Ward's now minus 20,000 to be the first overall pick for the Tennessee Titans. Before this college football season, he was plus 2,000. And just think to yourself,
could you imagine?
Like, imagine if you had a crystal ball. Imagine. That's why we always play these games like the Would You Rather when we had the crazy questions back in the day from Mitch Carsley, like where would you rather like see 10 minutes in the future, all this stuff. It's like, that's where you play the game.
Yeah.
If you could just see 10 minutes in the future, could you imagine gambling? Could you imagine? Well, it wouldn't be gambling. You just watch a draft and then like, you that's so raven yourself into the future and then come back and you're like, okay, yeah, take this person next. Baccarat Jack, player banker. I'll tell you right now, it's going to be player. Just go on this crazy run. Chop. Getting after it. NBA playoffs are also going. Will and I put parlays. How'd your parlays do?
Lost.
Bink.
My guy, we have a guy.
JJ?
No, we have a guy. We can't say the guy.
You can't say the guy.
Can't say the guy who sent the bet last week. Just got a spontaneous text. Hey, go with this parlay. One leg, of course, doesn't hit. 1 out of the 5, I believe.
Who is? We can't say the guy.
Say the guy. Can't say the guy.
Can't say the
Tell
guy.
you after.
Tell me after. But right now, no. If you're watching this and you're in the dark, I'm also in the dark while you're telling me.
With K Adams on a parlay. Also made a JJ Redick parlay. All my parlays lost.
All of them. I did a parlay Friday. I was like, let me just throw my hat in the ring with this basketball. Not one hit. Actually, not one got close. And then I took Houston and the Golden Knights, and I'm like, I know who Steph Curry is. Let's get him to have
Golden Knights.
Golden Warriors. So I'm all hockey right now, boys.
Golden State Warriors.
I'm all hockey right now. Yeah, Golden State Warriors, whatever. Steph Curry, he hits 5 threes. I knew that was lock, stock, and 2 smoking barrels.
Well, he hit that in the last couple minutes. His fifth 3.
Well, I should have watched. And then the Rockets, they lose, and then the under hit, and I bet the over. So 1 for 3.
If you think you know how it's all going to go down, make those predictions pay off with FanDuel and the NBA profit boost every day of the playoffs this week. Simply make your bet, activate your boost, and go for even bigger winnings. Don't just be a spectator this postseason. Don't just be a spectator for the draft either. Head to FanDuel.com/Bussin to download America's #1 sportsbook, FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA, the boys, the NFL, and everything in between.
Beautiful stuff.
I am excited for the draft, though.
Yeah, I am too. It's going to be exciting.
Like, is Mason Graham, you think he's going to go top 5? Right now, there's been some projections for like the
couple of
Jaguars.
He's going like 5. Yeah. That could happen.
Tyler Booker.
Will Johnson.
T-Book. Friend of the show.
If there's any scouts out there that have the opportunity to draft Tyler Booker, I don't think there's a better kid out there. This kid's going to play 10, 15 years in the NFL. He's going to be strong, dependable,
sturdy.
reliable. Really, the only thing holding back that kid is injuries. He just has. I know.
I do feel like I have a free $1,000 bet to put this week to put on Shedeur. Because Delaney, the bet we have with Delaney right now
is insane.
Yeah. What is it? Top 2 rounds, right? Shedeur's just got to go in the top 2 rounds. I win $1,000 from Delaney because he thought he was going to fall out of the top 2 rounds.
God love him.
So I'm going to treat.
Dumbest bet I've ever heard.
So I'm going to treat like I have like a freebie. Yeah, I got some free money to play on.
That's a free money. Go ahead and rip that up a little bit. I could see him going top 5. I could see him with you got the Giants there. You got the Saints there, 3 and 4.
Raiders, they're out of the top 5. Raiders, I think, are 7, I believe. And Saints are what, 9?
No. I don't know. What was the thing we were just looking at before we came in?
You talking about all the different odds?
Because 3 is the Giants.
Yeah, Giants are at 3.
I can see them going that high.
Because it seems like Travis Hunter is going to be a lock at going to the Browns.
Yeah, which is exciting.
And Giants are choosing out of,
Here we go. Yeah,
Raiders are 6.
Titans, Browns, Giants, Patriots, Jags, Raiders. Who's that? My eyes.
You know Vrab's going to build in the trenches.
Panthers. Yeah.
Will Campbell out of LSU.
I think if you're going to pick at 4 and you want to take a tackle, you're going to take that kid out of Texas. Yeah. I think he's clearly the number 1 tackle in this draft. Will Campbell. There's been some comments about his length of arms. Is he more of a guard?
The arm length.
The arm length game. To me, it's the arm length game so ridiculous because I didn't have like overly long arms, but it's all about using the length you have. It's all about using the length you've got,
these little T-Rex boys.
But yeah. You square.
Yeah.
But that's all good.
Vrab wouldn't let me on punt return because my arms weren't long enough to
Vrab's,
lock. Yeah.
He was doing that just because your name was Will Compton.
Yeah. Vrab's likes length.
Vrab's treated you that way the way Shedeur Sanders got his jersey retired. You know, he just did it because your
to
name.
your point, he is like a tangible. He loves the length.
Loves the length.
Loves the
Yeah,
length.
because Vrabel's built like a Neanderthal. Like he's a knuckle dragger.
Yeah.
Like his arms literally go past his knees. He's built to play football.
Yeah. What'd you
God
think of
love
Shedeur getting his number retired at Colorado?
I don't ever want to hate on that because it is like, I think of myself if like Michigan doesn't really retire numbers, but if they ever were like, hey, we're putting you in our Hall of Fame, I don't even know if they have a Hall of Fame, I would just be so grateful and so proud of that. And to see Shedeur, it's like, okay, he wasn't an All-American. He was Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year or All Big 12, something like that, like, which is great, but like everybody has that.
Yeah.
So there's
gonna be a lot of
there's the
retired
nepotism,
numbers.
there is the bias that goes involved in it, but I'm happy for him because it's like, that is cool. Now, whether he deserved it or not, I don't know, man. Hopefully he has an incredible NFL career, and then we all look back on it similar to the way Michigan looks at Tom Brady, where Tom Brady didn't have like a Hall of Fame college career, but then he goes to the NFL and he's the greatest player of all time.
Yeah.
So there's still an opportunity. His story's unwritten, dude. Who sings that song? The rest is still unwritten.
Natasha Bedingfield.
I thought it was. I did
Staring at the blank page.
I did think
before you.
Dion dropped
You
a
know what
gem when he was talking to the press and talking about Rashaan Salam, like how long did it take for him to get his number retired?
Yeah.
And it was like, what, 20 something years? Well, how long after he died? And it was like within 1 year. And he's like, he enjoys guys smelling the flowers. I feel like my only issue with the Hall of Fame retiring jerseys, because Travis Hunter, like that's a shoe in.
Yeah, he won the Heisman.
But it's like, there should be like a protocol, whether it's, in the Hall of Fame, you have to be 5 years. You have to be 5 years before you get eligible. Like if they had standards like that, I think it would land a lot softer because them getting their jersey retired and getting into the Hall of Fame like within months after playing, I think and obviously the last name being Sanders.
Yeah.
Do what? School semester's not even over.
Yeah.
Very sick for Travis and Shedeur, like, going to get on the field and getting your number retired and getting your name written up there so quick. But also it's like, there seems to be like no parameters because they have how many guys retired overall? 6 total. And there's been some great players that come out of Colorado, especially in the early 90s when they were a very damn good football team.
Dave Bakhtiari? Yeah. I mean, he was like a 4th or 5th round pick, though.
He was like a lower round
So he's
pick.
kind of in that similar, I mean, it's weird to put him in the same category as Tom Brady, but like they don't have the college careers, but they had the NFL career.
Yeah.
Is what I'm basically trying to say. Because Bach was a stud, man. He signed multiple massive contracts, multiple all-pros. Like, dude was a fucking stud. Looks fantastic, too.
Yeah.
Saw him this weekend at Easter.
Yeah.
He gives
JP,
me...
you had...
Just when you look at the top 10 quarterbacks to play at Colorado, there's maybe one name that you truly like recognize from an NFL standpoint, and it would be Cordell Stewart.
Yeah.
But that's about it. Number 2, Darian Hagan, Sal Onisi, Coy Detmer, Joel Klatt. Shout out Joel Klatt.
Shout out Joel Klatt.
Bob Anderson, Stefo Liafo, John Hessler, all these guys. And I'm like, yeah, it makes sense. Shedeur was the best college quarterback of them all, except for...
I think the second one you said, he was one that was playing around 90. Like he had a really good career at Colorado.
How does Nebraska's Hall of Fame work?
I think you have to be, before you become eligible, I want to say it's like there's like a waiting period, maybe 5 years.
Okay, so you're eligible.
Yeah, I'd be eligible.
Okay.
I would see me getting in
What do you mean?
the Nebraska Hall of Fame, bro.
Yeah.
You were on the Jumbotron.
You're on the Jumbotron.
Yeah, I get I was on the Jumbotron.
And also, you can get put in the Hall of Fame for things other than football.
Do what?
You can get put in the Hall of Fame for things
It's
other
all
than
about
football.
impact.
Yeah, and your impact in the game. You're making... This is not truly... Please stick with me here.
Okay.
You're making more of an impact now than when you played.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Okay,
I don't
good.
take that as a
that
slight.
could have gone... You just never know.
I like
I don't
to
want
me
because you're good. You're a good
that's a
ball
compliment.
player. You're
That's
a
like
good
a
ball player.
compliment.
Yes. Okay. I meant it as a compliment. I just didn't want to get that. The blurred lines, the grays. I wanted that to happen between us right there.
He said
So-
you making a bigger impact.
So
now
maybe
than
it's
you
time for Will Compton. Maybe this weekend they surprise you
play. Yeah, I
because
guess
we'll
you
be in
never
Nebraska. Boys will be at the draft, starting this new thing called the 2-minute drill. That'll be exciting. Got ourselves an interview or 2 lined up. Head over. I'm coming back. I got to come back. I got some dad stuff to do Friday for my kids. They got a little play. Got to bring back over here. And then I'm off to Nebraska to see the boys, watch people just shower. Will Compton, the love glaze everywhere, dude. Just the gif of all the hot dogs hitting that woman in the face. That's Will Compton every time we go to Lincoln, dude. It is incredible how much love this man gets. But the spring tour, let's just talk about the spring tour for a little bit.
It's been awesome.
Has this been the most fun spring we've ever had at Bussin' With The Boys?
Yeah, this has to be the playbook we use with other schools going into next year.
Forever and always.
Yeah. Especially with Oregon. Like, Michigan was an awesome one, but again, that was the week of the spring game.
Right.
So they were a little lighter.
Their scheduling was a little different, so we didn't have the opportunity to work out with the team. However, the strength staff baptized us.
Oh, yeah.
They baptized us. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to have a bar on my back. My knee's going to be killing me. I'm going to be benching a whole lot of weight, whatever it is. It was all functional stuff.
My back's in hell. My back is currently in hell.
Talk to me about it.
I don't know
you
what
were in hell that whole entire workout.
Oh, yeah. I don't know what it is specifically, but something I have got to get my back corrected, man. And it's bothering me mentally. Like I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired of my low back.
Yeah,
like I have to fix it.
Something's got to break.
Painful.
It's either going to be you or you're going to break the back.
Yeah. Like I feel a sneeze coming on and I'm scared. I'm
preparing.
Like, yeah, what position do I get into to where I feel the lightest impact? Because it's like a sharp pain that just goes through my like L4 and 5 on my right side. And it fucking bothers me, man.
Yeah. Can I tell you what the biggest surprise to me was for myself in the spring tour so far?
Yeah, go ahead.
When we were in Oregon and that kid came up to me and asked me for some help when we did some core stuff.
Mm-hmm.
First off, I had no idea the clip that's on YouTube right now would be getting as much love as it is. But there, I understand, similar to when I watched the Masters, I understand golf now. I understand why guys coach. Because seeing this kid come up and want some information and me being able to give him something that I hope he takes with him and runs with him, that was a very special moment for me and I loved it. I loved it when guys came up and they're like ultimately curious about my process and how I handled things. And it was fucking awesome.
Yeah, man.
It was great.
You see why coaches do what they do. But I mean, think of yourself as like that young kid and you got a 3-time Pro Bowler coming in. Like you want to pick their brain. You're trying to figure out what questions to ask. Hey, he's working out with us right now. Like, let me get out in front of the boys and pull him aside. Yeah, and he's way more open and curious than I was at his age. He's a freshman.
Yeah.
He's a freshman. Just got there. He was an early enrollee.
That's awesome.
From Florida. And I mean, I remember being a freshman and there would be some guys that would come in. I can't remember his name. He was literally at Michigan when we were there, but he played tackle. He was from Georgia, went to Michigan. He would play for the Detroit Lions for 10 years. He would come in all the time, kind of do rehab and stuff like that in Ann Arbor. And I always wanted to pick his brain, but never did. Jake Long will be around once in a while. He was always around, but I never picked his brain because I was just kind of like more in awe than I was like, I'm going to try to get something out of them.
Yeah.
I think I tried to be a friend more than I tried to be like a mentee.
Yeah.
And so to me, it was just super cool that these guys are curious. Like Michigan was very similar, but Oregon, I would say more. That offensive line group were like very interested in my process, how I went about things. I was much more vocal in the meeting rooms of Michigan because the coaches were asking me questions. But it was awesome to be a part of.
Yeah. Mine was Barrett Ruud. Barrett Ruud would come around. He'd like work out with the team in the off season. And he like taught me how to watch film, taught me about his process, how he breaks down, how he compartmentalizes it on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So that was like getting to see that. It like reminds it just as a player, as a young player and wanting to get knowledge from these cats because Barrett Ruud was a stud at Nebraska and in the league. But yeah, it's cool to think about.
Of any linebacker and any offensive tackle, who would you guys want to spend the day with? While you were playing, who's the one guy you would want to be?
Want to be or want to spend time with?
Spend time with to learn from.
Ray Lewis. I would say like anytime I was driving to workouts in the morning, I always had like Ray Lewis speeches on. I got to see him speak one time. But I'd say Ray Lewis. I mean, dude did it at the highest level for all of 16, 17 years. Yeah. He was like the baddest man on the football field.
God don't make mistakes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I that's a really difficult question for me because the person I looked up to the most was Jake Long. Jake Long's career, I mean, he ended up getting a lot of injuries in the NFL, so it was very difficult for him to like show off how much talent he actually had. I mean, the guy he made 3 Pro Bowls in a row in his first 3 years. Like he's an insane talent that was only plagued by, he's a Hall of Fame guy that was just injured a bunch. But we were much different play styles. Like I was more bendy and probably a little more athletic. He was stronger and understood technique a little bit better. I think if I was going to spend time with a guy, and I would honestly want to ask you about that before, is probably Trent Williams, because we were like similar in a lot of ways, of like how we decided to play, he was much stronger, much more powerful. But from a movement standpoint, very similar.
It's interesting too hearing you talk about like technique and everything else. Like I feel like Ray would always talk about the game so much. Like I was always gravitating towards the guys who you'd see on film, like on YouTube, whatever it is, and kind of talking about the game with Ed Reed, because I was just so interested. It's like, how do these motherfuckers like break the game down at such a level to where, technique and all that stuff's part of it, but I don't think technique wise for a linebacker is as involved as like say an offensive tackle.
Yeah, it seems like you guys are seeing what the formation is, what the motion is, and basically playing like process of elimination of what this play could possibly be, and it's reading and reacting.
Yeah.
We do a lot of reading and reacting post snap, but like for me, I was always under the thought process that if I lose, it's because I did something wrong, not because they did something right.
Yeah.
Like people can have great rushes and do a bunch of amazing things, but like if my feet are correct, if my hands are correct, and my angle's correct, I cannot lose.
Yeah.
And so when I like a couple weeks ago, we had Luke Kuechly on. If you guys are watching for the first time, you can go watch that incredible episode. You guys listen to you guys break down film. For me, it was just identifying. The coaches would give me, hey, when they're in this formation, the safety's over this way, look for this blitz, that blitz, whatever. So you knew when there was like movement going on, but it was really just identifying like, what's this guy's fastball? And then now I'm evaluating to myself, okay, is his best against my best? Because I'll take my best. But if it highlights one of my weaknesses, okay, I need to now equalize the playing field of being like, I need to get him off his game. So if it's a power guy, I was always concerned about power because it's like, I was fast and twitchy when it came to like just, sitting on a bull. That was my most difficult thing. So I need to jump this guy and set up different angles. So now mentally we're both playing this game of whose confidence is higher in moments. So if I can jump this guy a couple times, set him differently, use my hands differently, and I'm winning those battles, I know mentally his head's in a different spot than mine is. Now my confidence is a little bit higher. So there was always about finding that guy and seeing what he was best at and taking that away first. Mm-hmm. And with the film stuff, it was like linebackers essentially handle things the same. If they're fast, twitchy guys, they're going to try to up and under you. If they're big, powerful guys, like fucking buckle your chin strap and get ready to get hit under the chin. Keep your feet moving. And so I never was like a student of the game that way. It was always just like identifying the individual battles.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's awesome to listen to you guys talk about it. Just talking about coverages and him like peeling off of cover 2 and all that, and listening to the way you're breaking down it. It's like, it's such a part of the game that maybe I didn't do as much. So it's just fun to listen to.
Yeah, it's like as a backer too, like you're always trying to identify like how is the offense trying to beat you, and like when Luke's sitting there talking like which offensive lineman's going to be blocking you, because you want to have every angle or be the fastest to the first step, because when you're going into the line of scrimmage, like you guys are much bigger than us.
Yeah.
So you're always trying to like find those edges of when a motion's happening, when a formation's going on, always trying to figure out like how an offense is trying to beat you so you can have the faster first step. And just listen to Luke, and even off Ray Lewis, like I went and spent time with London Fletcher, and London talked about the game in such a way. Like I remember when I was a rookie, and London had the keys to do whatever he wanted. Like if he wanted to check out a defense similar to what Thomas Davis and Luke Kuechly were doing, like having the coaching staff have that much confidence in you that you were seeing the game good enough that it's like, hey, if he sees something, he's checking something, let him do it. Mm-hmm. Like I was always fascinated with like, how do you get there? Like when I was in a cold tub and I'd be asking London, like, why are you checking in a cover 2 in these situations? But like it's like always the game within the game and trying to be one step ahead on how offense is trying to beat you, because they know what they're running, and you're just you're trying to put yourself in the best position to like have the quickest first step and beat them to a spot.
Yeah.
So I always loved that stuff. I feel like Ray always had a lot of things on YouTube too. At least you would hear him talking about it. So when Barrett would come in and talk about playing the linebacker position and talking about breaking down film study and everything else, I was just always so fascinated, because in the weight room, you're always going to be trying to chase those edges to get the 1% better, whether in speed, jumping, quickness,
body,
your
physicality,
physicality, like let me gain 5 pounds.
Yeah.
But like, what are those little things that can kind of give you a step up, like when you're on the field, to where you're kind of anticipating everything versus just reacting to it.
Yeah. It's so interesting. You ever see on like Instagram when there's like someone did a drawing and they start zooming out, and then all of a sudden that drawing's inside of a cat's eye, and it's a kind of universe. It's like insane, the amount of depth and levels.
Yeah.
I was talking to my dad after the Easter party, after Lewan Easter Bash 2025. just about basically the conversation we're having now and how many different levels there are. Like there's 22 guys on the field at one time. And if you sit there as an offense, you're like, okay, I can understand the concept of what's happening here. I know the back's track. I know relatively if this is a longer route, shorter, intermediate, whatever it is. And then you go into a little bit, okay, what's the offensive line doing here? And then you can zoom in a little bit more, like, okay, what's the center's job here? And then the tackle's job. And then you start to realize all the little games of chess that are happening while 11 guys are trying to do the same thing to help each other. And that is why football really is the best.
Yeah.
Because the
game is awesome.
There's so many levels to this shit. It's just crazy. It's awesome. And not even thinking about the defensive side. Like everyone's also doing their 11 things. You know, if this guy goes inside and does this, you have to cover this gap. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And so like going into these schools and being able to do what we were doing is just great. I mean, we talked about it last week at Oregon, but like,
yeah, if you haven't watched that vlog,
all time,
check out the Oregon vlog.
It's one of our favorites we've ever done. Michigan was great too. I think the only thing that got in the way with us with Michigan was their scheduling. They had the spring game coming up, so these guys were kind of like deloading.
They're on the back end. They got
on the back
finals
end.
the next week.
Oregon was very much like still in their process of like implementing like installation, doing the workouts, all that stuff. We got there. What was it? Tuesday last week? Tuesday or Wednesday?
Michigan?
Yeah.
We got there Tuesday.
Their spring game Saturday. So their last, like, it was kind of like their last real practice before they split up into their maize and blue groups. And it was just, it was a little bit different. But the access, I was impressed with the access because Oregon really opened it up to where we walked away and I looked at the boys. I was like, I don't know if Michigan's going to give us this. Like that was insane amount of access. It was awesome.
Lanning's a homie, bro.
Lanning is an absolute homie. But I mean, even after practice at Michigan, like it's you, me, Abloff, the boys, Sharon, and we're all just basically telling terrible stories about me the whole time.
Top five.
Isn't that crazy?
Top five, bro.
Isn't
hurts,
that just
man.
wild?
It has to hurt.
It does and it doesn't. Like I think,
top five, JP, explain the top five.
Yeah, explain top five.
Top five. Dave Abloff has been at Michigan for how long?
Like 25 plus years.
He's essentially the director of media relations. So anything that goes down with Michigan, he's the guy that gets reached out to and he has to handle it. So we were asking him, or I don't even know if we asked him.
Dave a couple times like made a couple like comments like, oh, I thought I'd be done worrying about Taylor.
He keeps saying the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah, he would keep making those types of comments, which like you laugh at. But I'm thinking to myself like, bro, I won that bad. It was, there's a couple of instances.
And those exchanges get us sparked to ask Dave, hey, so where's Taylor ranked?
Yeah, so after practice,
problem child.
We're all sitting in a circle, and it's like us, Blake Corum, Sharon Moore, and Dave. And I don't know who asked, was it you who asked the question?
I might have.
Yeah, but let's just say Will asked the question, like, how bad was Taylor? And then he goes, I mean, you guys, I don't feel like I'll talk about myself, but like, yeah. He says that was top.
He said, we were up by Coach Moore's office when he came out. Maybe JP asked, like, where's Taylor rank?
Maybe. And basically Dave was like, he's
probably
top five.
Yeah, top five.
And Taylor's like, what? And then the very first story, there was already two different versions of it where Taylor thought one thing happened and Dave was like,
one was
Taylor's like,
Arizona. The Arizona Bowl.
He's where the bus left him. And he's like, well, do you remember how that trip started?
The bus did leave me, and I think he bent the knee to that.
No, well, he goes, well, do you remember how that trip started?
Yeah, because I actually, you know what's crazy is he brought that up, and I did not remember that. We can talk about like that's all news. Like, this
it was your brother's fault.
No, I still blame the kid. These dudes were 29 years old.
This was the Ohio
trying to
State
fight
one,
my
right?
18-year-old brother. So I came in and I hit the kid. I did what people says I did my senior year after the Ohio State game. And
they didn't hear about it.
They didn't hear about it. Obviously, me being dumb and 21 years old, I'm like, I'm not going to tell them this happened.
Yeah.
And then we land in Arizona, and I guess Dave Abloff's phone starts going off. Like
the headlines.
Yeah, the headlines. Taylor Lewan hit this Ohio State fan after the Ohio State game, which we did lose 42-41. That was like the most painful loss of all time.
He said they brought you in to
sat
sit
me
you down
in.
and get the
I
information.
lied.
Taylor saying he didn't do it.
I didn't. I said my brother did it at first.
Hey, pulled up the video on him. Who was this?
Yeah. And then I ended up telling the truth. Yeah, but they did leave me after the Buffalo Wild Wings game. They left me after that. But some of the stories, man. And as we're sitting there in Al Glick Fieldhouse, and then like story after story's happening, I'm having to explain the story. I'm thinking to myself, God damn, maybe I am top five. Maybe I really was top
Some
five
of the
headaches
stories
there.
are diabolical.
Man,
diabolical.
I loved Blake's reaction to hearing all the stories because he's like smiling and kind of just in awe of like, kind of like, how the heck did you do this while you were here?
Yeah.
He said 3 times while y'all were just talking, like off the back. He's like, top 5. I like that because Blake was probably number one easiest person to deal with.
The freshman year dorms with Craig Rowe is the worst one.
Yeah.
We don't got
to anyway.
That's one. Yeah,
you know what's weird is like I didn't think it was that bad. I didn't think it was that bad. Then I'm telling that story. I'm thinking, oh my god.
I turned the camera off.
Did you really?
Yeah. I'm like, we don't need to put this out there for Taylor.
Yeah.
That is great times though. That's what they were talking. Hey, high production, high production. Maintenance was there, I guess.
Yeah.
I made the most.
Those
of
were great. I also love Will and Blake Corum's rivalry that they have.
It's beautiful, dude.
It's also like 4-0 Blake. So.
It really is, man. It really is. And you see
he is up on me. He's up on me so high I have to just walk by my sideline, shoulder him, and feel like that's a dub. Like,
dude. And then I mean, you kind of didn't want to do a 1-on-1 against him either.
It wasn't that I didn't want to do a 1-on-1 against Blake. It truly wasn't that. You heard me talking about my back just a few minutes ago.
Right, and I know you were feeling fine at this time, but go ahead.
I wasn't feeling fine on the field. I was like, bro, I'll have to do a full warm-up because we were saying, like, at Oregon, it was, hey, the next morning, get the body right. I'm like ready to go because it's early in practice. It's early enough in practice. This one, we were there all day long. Mm-hmm. Like we fly out early in the morning.
Right.
We're doing that workout, which by the way, they absolutely crushed us in that workout.
Yeah.
Where my shoulders, I felt like I had a chest cold after the workout.
I thought my biceps were going to tear.
And then we're standing at practice all day long. Like we were out there on the field for what, 3-4 hours?
Yeah.
Before it's like, hey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like think about the pre-practice.
I know.
They had like an hour before practice started.
Right. Absolutely.
And so it's just, you feel the swelling coming on. Like I would have had to do an entire like program just to get ready for this 1-on-1.
But the practice was 2 hours. An hour in, I did come up to you and I was like, hey, we should get ready for you to do the thing with Blake.
There's about 30 or 40 minutes. But what
happened?
Get you a helmet. What was going on though? They were doing the move the ball situation. I did want to see Bryce Underwood like play.
Yeah.
Like he was going out there and he looked insane.
Yeah, he was all. And
then you guys are sitting there talking. You guys are sitting there talking shit about Nebraska. Like, September 20th, and they're talking shit because he was moving the ball.
He was 5 for 5, like
he was moving the ball,
getting the ball out so fast.
And I'm like, yeah, he does look nice.
And you get a little nervous.
And then he throws his pick to shut out Nico. He throws a pick to the safety.
Walk on.
Then right when he throws a pick, right after they were talking shit, I was like, hey, you guys were saying something about Nebraska? Yeah. Just perfect timing.
Yeah, but he was lighting it up, and there was a couple times he had like a zone read type of situation. He should have pulled it because the end crashed inside, and you see him like kind of doing the chest thing. We were basically doing the same thing to Bryce Underwood as we did at the Colorado-Nebraska game with Dylan Raiola. Like, helping up his offensive lineman.
Yeah,
he's doing the thing. He's taking a knee in the huddle. He's looking around while you just see this
commanding the huddle.
This guy's confidence is insane. And then he has the stats, and everyone's like, "This kid struggles in the spring game." It's like, dude.
I did see that. Like, I guess game reps are a little bit different than practice.
Spring game, bro. Like they're probably just like, hey, go out there and sling it.
He threw another pick.
Yeah.
88 yards. There was a Instagram post. I don't know which one. It was one of the college football ones. They're like, number 1 overall recruit struggles in spring game. Is Michigan going to have more quarterback woes this upcoming season? Most liked comment was Bryce Underwood's, and it's just a bunch of cry laughy faces.
Like that.
And I'm in a parking lot at Target just like, this motherfucker's got the confidence.
Article's got a point.
Y'all should clear the air though, because Bryce was getting a lot of hate for the photo we put up. What was y'all's first reactions? What was your first reactions when you saw him?
Specimen.
Yeah, Specimen.
I was like, oh, that's Bryce Underwood?
He looks like a leaner Cam Newton. Like he is. I mean, Cam was.
If people are talking about his gut,
but
that's the most. It's one of the more athletic looking guts that you will find. Like the internet's reaction to this photo was blowing my mind because I'm like, man, people are really seeing it that way.
Yeah,
because he's all of 6'6". I don't know how much he weighs, but the dude, he's 17 years old.
17.
And seeing him, I know it's a very small thing, but seeing him one hand those footballs, bro.
Stupid.
I mean, dudes are chucking it like 30 yards, and he's just snatching them out of the air.
Didn't he say something?
Like he can play wide receiver.
The ball was coming to you, and he's like, "Don't worry about that."
Yeah, I'm filming, and the ball is like coming in kind of hot. He's like, "Don't even worry about it." And then I'm like, "I'm gonna worry about it."
Yeah.
And I like get out the way, and he just plucks it out of the air.
Plucks it.
He mossed Chris Bryant. Chris was just like walking towards us back to the ball. And this is like in the far left of my camera frame where I was filming somebody else, and this is just going on the side. And Bryce jumps up, reaches over with his right hand, comes back over one hand. I'm like,
yeah, dude.
this guy.
I tell you what,
insane, man.
if he's a baller on Saturdays, like the offense will be extremely fun to watch.
Yeah.
I'll say this. If
'Cause
he's not a
he's a
baller
specimen.
on Saturdays, it's not because of him. It's because of whatever scheme they have around him. Because he's athletic enough, you have got to be able to move the ball.
That's a fantastic point because college football, that amount of athleticism, you can Johnny Manziel.
Right.
I mean, you can
Nick
kind of get
Marshall
away.
at Auburn. They were always winning like 10 games. Guy could not throw the ball to save his life, but that offense was schemed up so well around him.
Yeah.
And it's like Bryce is a lot better than Nick Marshall.
What really impresses me about this kid
he's
is
a hell of a player.
I mean, he was the first guy out there. He was the first guy taking snaps, throwing the ball. He was working 30 minutes before practice even started. His dad's at practice. First off, the dad, him, and his sister they look the exact same. I'm like talking to the dad, and the sister's like fake dribbling in the back, like dunking on her dad the whole time. But I'm like, hey, like, we're talking about his work ethic, and he's like, we brought up the money. And his dad's like, he has always said he wants to afford the opportunity to work. And he's like, the money is just more of an opportunity to get working. He's like, last night he was at this one place with a private quarterback coach from 11 to 1. He woke up at 7, did X, Y, and Z. He's like, just crazy.
The coaching staff talks about him being in the film room for hours at a time.
Hours. And so sounds like this kid's, it sounds, even as a Michigan fan, it sounds too good to be true. Like, what's this kid, they're saying all the right things. He's doing all the right stuff. And it's just like,
he'll have some woes.
what can he do?
I mean, he's got to come see us in Lincoln.
I don't know if y'all saw either.
We'll see you.
He gifted his high school like CO
Yes.
officer like a brand new car.
Yeah.
Which I mean, if you're a 17-year-old gifting like your security guard from your high school car, kid's got a good head on his shoulders. And they were saying he was in the facility too, like 3 a.m. the day before, and then came back. Yeah, and then they came back at 7 a.m. So
When we were
about
doing
to work.
the crossbar challenge, he's like, we were talking about the workout we were doing, how we're kind of hurting. He's like, yeah, I got mine at 5 a.m. I'm thinking, all right, that's a weird flex, like to say on us, but yeah, that's impressive. Jack, how did that make you feel, seeing somebody get gifted a truck?
this feels nasty now. I don't know.
No, I didn't know if
I
that
don't know
brought
how
something up
this
to
is
you.
getting brought up. I mean, yeah, it's cool. It's cool to see a guy who cares about his people. You know, yeah, 17. You know,
Just
I don't
grinding
know.
it out, man.
So I was happy for him.
We interrupt this episode because we are brought to you by Neutral Vodka Seltzer. Have you tried Neutral? If not, you are missing out. Neutral is so much better than any other seltzer I've tried, and it's made with real vodka and real juice. That's what makes it delicious. Neutral comes in a variety of flavors, pineapple and watermelon, just to name a couple of my favorite. They also have new flavors, lime and strawberry. Neutral is the perfect drink to bring when hanging with friends, and it is such a crowd pleaser, whether you're watching at a bar, in the backyard with friends, or at a tailgate. Drink Neutral. Neutral. Keep it tasty.
Nico found a home. You happy for him?
Who?
You seen that video of that Tennessee fan walking in Chick-fil-A? And he's like, no Polynesian sauce.
That's funny.
That is funny as hell, dude.
Yeah, he's back. I mean, he's back home. He's back in California. I think it's comical, at least, to say that he goes from a state with 0 state income tax to the state with potentially the highest state income tax.
Oh, yeah.
Making less money, going to a college with less talent, a way worse offense. But good luck. Good luck.
I know.
Fired the boy up right there. Fired him up right
He
there.
is in the Big Ten. We got to see him this year.
Yeah,
We got to
Because,
see
hey,
him.
Good luck.
no matter what, he is a hell of a player.
hell of a player. But I mean,
You hope
he's
this
solid.
next move he makes, it's all ball from this point on.
He's got to right some wrongs.
And not that it wasn't all ball. I'm just the magnifying glass that'll now be on him since this situation is kind of going to be the example of college football. When he does become draft eligible, like this will be something that's peeled apart and picked apart.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
wherever he is now, or being at UCLA now, you hope that it's all ball from this point on because he's
Yeah.
got to know that that magnifying glass is going to be on.
Oh
him.
yeah, it's gonna be all eyes on him. But yeah, it'll be exciting to watch, especially those first few games. Tennessee fans are gonna be tuned in.
What's Tennessee going to do at quarterback?
We're still figuring out. We got 2 guys right now on the roster. No one's been contacted as of right now for anyone coming in, but we'll see. It's scary. I mean, it's scary.
Yeah, because I mean,
We've
he is
we've
like
lost a lot
Nico
of
was
offensive
a
Yeah.
players.
He looks
So-
the part. He looks the part, and he looked good.
fucking
in Alabama when
athlete,
we were
bro.
out. Yeah.
You don't think so, JP? I know you got I know you got your cat out of South Carolina. But you see Nico, like he can throw the ball around when he puts his foot in the ground. He can run. So I saw UCLA, like I've had all the takes on Nico, and then I'm thinking, oh yeah, we got to play UCLA this year.
It is a home game. It's different playing in Lincoln, man.
Y'all play in Lincoln.
Do we really? I thought we go to UCLA. UCLA beat us when we were in Memorial last year.
Oh,
I thought that was at.
Yeah, USC. USC will be at home. We need that home crowd.
Damn, I was gonna say.
Yeah, like UCLA got better getting Nico on board.
That's how y'all feel.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, you guys will be all right. Yeah, Rayola.
Yeah, we got a squad. We don't got just Rayola. Like, we got a squad.
We're-
Coach Rule, you know, I was watching the local presser last week. He's like, he's been waiting for a team like this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What
It got me right. It got me hyped.
Saturday we'll be there. Do you have any idea what to expect from the spring game? Because it's not really a spring game this year.
No.
Nebraska.
So I think they've pivoted a little bit now that the NCAA has put in that new rule of you can only carry like 105 on the roster. He'll be doing something, and Michigan was kind of doing it too. But to where a lot of those guys that'll be bubble guys are trying to like earn their way into training camp. So they will be having like a scrimmage for like guys to show talent and have film to send out everywhere else because they're cutting down to the 105. So guys are gonna have to like make rosters. So he's kind of treating it like they only have 3 in the NFL
Fourth
now,
preseason
right?
game?
Yeah. Third preseason game.
Yeah.
But no, I don't know what to expect. I'm sure they'll have elements of both to where they'll have a scrimmage. But I have no clue what to expect.
Team captain.
Yeah, but even this, I don't even know if that's going down anymore. Just because they kind of pivoted early last week.
They're changing it.
Yeah, they're changing the layout a little bit.
All right, head on a swivel, boys. It's gonna be a fun time in Lincoln.
Yeah.
Stars versus the Legends.
Well, it sounds like they're not doing that, or they might not be doing that now.
This was what they were doing, and now
They were going to
it's-
do something. I don't even know what was going to take place with the Stars versus Legends thing. But just off last week, like I haven't had much communication with Nebraska on what exactly is going down this weekend.
What year is that right there?
Freshman year.
Yeah, that neck.
You see Eckler, that's Eckler in the background.
Yeah, I see him giving you little flowers too.
Yeah.
Come on now,
Yeah.
that's nice.
Played a crucial role in getting Eck out of Tennessee to Nebraska.
Disgusting.
No, it was he just happened to be at Tennessee.
Disgusting.
Our special teams coordinator.
I'm
One
happy
personal.
that you have influence in this college football world like that, because that's cool. But
One-
Eckler is a hell of a special teams coach.
Another
So-
thing from spring tour that I've noticed is how important special teams coaches are. Like the enthusiasm that needs to be in the room to keep guys involved in what's going on. Because we sat in a couple rooms and it was like, I've never really been in special teams meetings.
Yeah.
I leaned over to Will at one point and go, this shit is fucking boring. Like, yeah, you run down.
Yeah, I mean we've
Yeah, you run down, you got a lane. Like, stay in that lane.
yeah. Take it easy. We've only been to a couple schools. People can figure out.
No, yeah. But I knew.
I know.
But there's no an X enthusiasm that he has. I'm sure his rooms are.
X got
They're dialed in the
enthusiasm,
entire
yeah.
time.
Hell of a recruiter.
Yeah, I wasn't taken away from. Yeah, I can see how that was bad. Listen, I was bored because this shit just seemed like you just run down the field.
Yeah, I mean, it's more drill essential stuff than it is like X's and O's on special teams.
I feel like it's such an underutilized part of the game. Just
Oh,
watching.
it is. I mean,
Like, guys need
that
to
part of
be-
the game matters.
Yeah, it matters a lot.
Yeah,
But the third thing's a little crazy.
yeah.
That's a crazy concept.
It is. It is cool though. I saw that interview that Eck did, and I was his very first recruit,
Which is awesome.
Yeah, he would like give me an envelope, and I'd be like thinking in my head like, "Oh snap, what's about to happen?"
Let's
like
go.
that.
I'd open it up and it'd be like a stick of gum with a note that said, "There's more where that came from."
That's what sold you.
yeah.
Dude, that is funny.
Yeah.
That is
yeah.
awesome.
X the man though.
Yeah.
It
It'll
seems
be a
like
fun
he's
week,
doing
dude.
well out there.
This is gonna be a fun week. Anytime you go to Nebraska, man, they treat you right. They treat you right out there. Are you guys still Adidas?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah. Adidas has been up and up though. JP knows what I'm talking about. He
Fire
rocks Adidas.
shoes. Best shoes in the game.
He won't have to trade his shoes out there. He's gonna be leveling up out there.
Maybe. What else we got, boys? What else we got going on? Titans taking Cam Ward. NBA.
What guy in the draft do you think will have the best NFL career? The early prediction for it.
Will Johnson.
Cam Ward.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question.
That's a good question.
Tyler Booker.
Yeah.
Fair point.
Fuck, dude.
It's tough because it's like Book. we got to be around him, so you kind of know his mental, you kind of know his approach to the game, and not just the game, but off the field. And we know it's like guys like that who are going to last the longest.
Yeah. And he understands like the fans.
I'm excited to see Tyler Warren in the NFL. I think he's going to be a beast.
A tight end for Penn State. Yeah. He seems like he can do it all.
Yeah.
He can play any position.
You got you guys got a cat out of Michigan, right? Love? Cortland?
Oh, yeah, Colson Loveland. Yeah, he is a stud. That's a guy that
be good.
his draft stock probably fell a little bit because the quarterback play was below par last year. We actually had quarterback turned off. We just handed the ball off for 12 games. But he's a cat he can block, he can run routes. He's a guy that he's a matchup nightmare.
Yeah.
Might work out for him in the long run for sure.
I'm excited to watch Travis Hunter's career.
Yeah.
Dude,
That'd be interesting.
This was the first weekend I saw like the Travis Hunter effect on the youth. There was this kid, we were at this little Easter thing on Sunday, and he put on his Travis Hunter jersey, and they're playing football in the backyard, and he was switching between offense and defense, and he would line up, and he would go, offense mode, and then he would switch back, and he would go defense mode and do his thing. So
No doubt.
I'm like, that's pretty cool because for us, it's like, yeah, when we're growing up, it's only like, oh, I'm Randy Moss or I'm whoever. When now they can just be Travis Hunter everywhere.
He is trying to play both positions at the next level.
Right. I don't want to misquote, but I think he said he won't play football if he can't play both ways.
Yeah.
Which is wild.
I'm excited to see it.
120 snaps a game.
It hasn't been done. Like in my brain, I don't see how it works out. Like just imagine the week you have invested in one position at the next level and think of yourself, both sides of the ball.
Yeah. Could you imagine being in the NFL and stepping off the sideline and then not stepping back on the sideline?
Your break is just special teams?
Yeah. Like, oh, punt's on, I'll get off for one play. Get this water real quick. I wonder if
because Cam Newton was breaking it down on his pod. He's like, imagine if you're on the Dolphins and in practice it's like you're covering Tyreek Hill and then the next period you're stepping to the other side and Jalen Ramsey is covering you.
Yeah.
And the physicality at the next level, just all of it, the mental, the physical, everything.
Interesting you brought up
I'm
Jalen
not
Ramsey.
questioning his gas tank. I'm more so just questioning like it will be insane if he gets that done.
Yeah.
Like imagine, bro.
I know. It's crazy. I think to myself, like, what about when he gets older? Like,
There's no
way.
sustainable.
He regret not going to one and just staying with one position the whole time because there's more longevity in that.
Yeah.
Like you got to think 4 years from now.
There's no way it's sustainable.
120 snaps a game. It can't be.
For the organization, you got to be fired up, like using it out in his rookie deal.
Yeah.
But longevity purposes, like for the individual, it's almost like I don't see how that's sustainable.
But imagine he plays 10 years.
Do you think that we will ever see, because as the quarterbacks get more and more athletic, my dream scenario would be a quarterback playing both ways.
In the NFL?
Like quarterback playing quarterback and safety.
No.
There ain't no way, bro.
Never.
True, it's already happened. Taysom Hill.
There's too much
Taysom Hill
involved
is
at like the
1-1.
quarterback position. Like if you look at Travis, I would see him being predominantly like a corner, and then in the situations where he just has packages on offense.
Kind of like on Dion.
Yeah, but more
Or Charles Woodson.
Yeah. But obviously, like more invested on the offensive side. But you'd more so just have packages, and his main focus will probably be cornerback.
So and you can't.
Because there's no way. There's just. I mean, who knows though? I'm not trying to sell him short, but I'm just thinking like, there's no way.
Like our brains cannot comprehend. that.
Yeah.
Being in it for that many years and just being like imagining how tired you are after camp, and then being like, well, we're tired. Look at that guy. He just played everywhere.
Yeah.
So he
That's
is able
insane.
to like actually play both ways. Do you think he's going to demand an absurd amount of money because, hey, I'm a lockdown corner and I'm also wide receiver number
Buddy,
one?
if he's a lockdown corner and a wide receiver one, he should get $1 billion contract.
Higher paid than all the quarterbacks.
Higher than all
Like
the
an
quarterbacks.
Otani type
yes.
contract.
And you just got to hope like he can keep it up for 4 years until he gets a new contract. It's like, yeah, Travis Hunter signs a $1 billion deal.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, that would be mind blowing.
Yeah.
Yeah. 500 million guaranteed.
The different clauses and everything, and if you get hurt playing defense, you're only making this much, or if you get hurt playing offense, you're only going to make this much.
His incentives.
That contract would be like so interesting to read.
Crazy, man.
He created a different market.
I hope he does it. I would
He's the only one in the
love to
market.
witness that. A dude that plays in the NFL at the highest possible level you can play. and plays both ways and is dominant.
In the same game, like first 3 games,
Techn-
it's a wrap.
Technically, would he be like a 2-time Pro Bowl selection in 1 year?
Could be.
God.
Yeah,
That would be so sick.
Yeah, he'd just double everyone's numbers.
that would be insane.
Dude, Nike
career.
poster boy.
plays
Pro
8
Bowls.
years, is a 16-time Pro Bowler. 16-time All-Pro.
I'm excited to see too, like this class perform in the league because everybody's kind of like shitting on it being one of the weaker classes.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of hopeful that they have like a good selection of guys that just
I want to see
conquers the league.
where Genty goes and how he does.
Yeah.
You saw his letter.
His
to
letter
all the
was
teams?
dope.
Yeah.
That was awesome. That was awesome. I pray to God Cam Ward is the guy for the Titans for the next 15 years.
How do you feel? What do you think?
I mean, he's got the talent. He put up records. He can move through the pocket. He can make every single throw. He can extend plays. Like, he's got the capability.
I know. I hope it works out for the Titans organization.
Yeah, I hope it does too, man. Because
Crazy.
I just hope he has a hell of a first year.
Marcus Mariota situation, 3 tutties in the first half.
The Nashville will be set on fire. That first game, I thought we were
Marcus.
winning the Super Bowl that year. I was like, oh, it's over.
Again, yeah, it was
No one's
number 1
touching
pick
us.
versus number 2 pick.
And number 2
Dogged
pick
him.
dismantled number 1. Murdered. It was
Yeah.
crazy.
Speaking of Marcus,
Yeah,
Yeah.
this episode
Is this
is everything.
Mount Busmore?
For me personally, I feel like
Yeah.
it's a Mount Busmore.
It is. And you could. I wish. The only thing I wish about this podcast is that it was 2 hours longer.
Yeah.
It
You could
was-
talk to him for days.
You can. And he was. We talked about. I think it was in the vlog. But if we would have got Marcus a couple of years ago, the podcast wouldn't have been as good.
No.
He was so open and vulnerable about all the trials and tribulations, the ups, the downs.
And a couple years ago, just no one talking to him in this interview, like where his head was at.
Yeah. Yeah.
This
there's the
podcast
boy
is all
right there,
time.
man. God.
It's one of my favorites.
There's not. Yeah. I love him. I love him so much.
Yeah, we've been trying to get him for
Yeah.
a while.
His wife, though, I tell you what, in the future,
She's ready.
We need to get her on the bus, man.
His wife is. I can't wait for the tell-all when it's over.
Yeah.
When he's done in what 11 more years.
Yeah, he wants to play
Yeah.
20.
Wants to play 20 years in the NFL. Yeah, dude. Win up this episode to bring you True Classic, boys. The shirt I'm wearing right now, you might think, yo, Louis looks kind of tight right now.
Or
Looks
Willie
kinda
C.
good.
I got the
Or
white
Willie
on.
C. Them
And the
boys-
undies.
Them boys look nice today. Well, the reason why is because we're wearing True Classic. And I know, listen, they messed up in a big way because they decided that they're going to be sponsors of us. If I was not with True Classic on this bus, I would still be buying True Classic. Not only is the fabric incredible, it grabs the shoulders and the chest just right. It's got enough length for you tall boys out there because they did come out with the XLs. They're also extremely affordable. I love this brand. It's a little warm right now, so I got the shorts on, but usually I'm rocking those black pants. Them boys are...
And another sneaker, too. Easy to pack. Like, you just have the blank, simple tees,
Easy.
jeans, shorts, whatever it is.
Right.
You just throw them in the suitcase. You don't have to think about, should I wear this? Should I wear that?
Yeah.
You just get True Classic.
One thing I've noticed in my life is anytime I'm around people that think they have money, it's the gaudy brands, the big bold, they got this acrylic painting on top of them and they got the watches and stuff like that. Anytime I'm around a gentleman who his bank account looks like a phone number, it's a classic plain looking tee. He's not there to impress anybody because he's already inside knows I'm successful as fuck.
Yeah.
I can do this. And that's another reason to wear True Classic tee. Do me a favor. Go find yourself some True Classic tee at Costco, Sam's Club, Target, or online at trueclassic.com/bussin. Kids and women's line are launching later this year. Look good, play good. Boys, let's feel good out there too. Let's get back to this episode.
Should we hit shout out, no free shout out, and jump into it? By the way, I just saw a Netflix background this Wednesday.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Yes,
Battle
thank you,
Camp.
thank you, thank you. Yes, we always the last couple of weeks we've been talking about. We got to talk about it. I want to say I have no
Netflix
idea.
host.
How we doing? How's everybody doing? This is Battle Camp. Dude, this was such a fun experience. And so like this time last year, I was just getting back from filming this in Mexico and I had no idea what to expect. I had no idea what I was doing the entire time. It was so much fun. The process, like my agent calling me and being like, hey, this company wants you to host a show, but you're probably too busy for it. I'm like, well, what's the company? They're like, Netflix. I'm like, we should probably take that fucking call. So I take the call with these people, and then I make a joke about not being able to read good. And they like kind of send them in a blender a little bit. So they're like, hey, we got to make sure Taylor can do a script.
I
and all
remember
that.
when you were having those. What was it like? Basically the tryouts.
Yeah. So yeah, I was doing.
You were super nervous.
I was nervous, so I memorized the entire script and I did it for them. They told me I had it, and they sent a host coach, shout out Alita, to my house for 3 days, and we stood outside of my backyard by the pond, and she's like, all right, this is how it's going to go. This is what's going to happen. When you're talking, they'll just stop you and they'll move cameras and all this stuff. And so she was so great at like kind of teaching me what was going to happen in the process. And then I go down there. She's with me for like 2 days or like I think a day and a half. And then she flew back to California where she lives. And I remember just being alone, like 400 people on set. 200 were straight out of Mexico. The other 200 were, besides the contestants and me, like all from like London, all from Europe. And it's like me and like 2 other Americans the whole time. It was such a culture shock, everything. But it was so much fun to do. I had a blast. Like these people, when going into it.
So explain what Battle Camp is too.
So Battle Camp is there's 3 teams and they're going to do this challenge. It's going to be intense. Like there's like these massive walls that they got to do this different stuff on. There's some simpler ones, but these insane challenges. Whichever team wins is immune from being eliminated. Then the other 2 teams, whoever got 3rd place, their name goes on this wheel. The first team will then pick 3 people from the other 2 teams to do punishments. Those punishments could be like cold tub stuff. It could be eating crazy things. Like it could be how many steps you can do in an hour. Whoever does the best is good. The other 2, they go on the wheel. And then there's a camp-wide vote to fill up the other 12 slots. They vote on who they want to go. And at night, we do a wheel ceremony. I spin the wheel. Someone goes home. And all these guys are competing for
whoever the wheel lands on?
Whoever it lands on. So there could be somebody with their name on the wheel 7 times and a person on the wheel 1 time. And if it lands on them, they're out of there.
Ooh.
So it's a game of like popularity, athleticism, and chance, dude. And it was cool. It was interesting too, like being a part of this because you're just in a football world your whole entire life. And now you're being thrusted into like this reality TV pop culture. And so you do not know what to expect. I will say this cast was awesome. Like they were great to be around. There were so many moments where they're rearranging cameras and they're like, it's kind of just me staring at them. And eventually I'm like, let me just talk to these people, And so like they were all awesome. This dude, Tony, who you will see on the show, he is hilarious. And this guy right here, I would make fun of him all the time, but he was one of those guys you can kind of like punch on a little bit. And he was great, but he kept coming on. He was so curious about like the football world and all that. He's like, I played. And I was like, oh yeah. He was like, high school? What do you got? Stiff hips? And we were just going back and forth. This kid was great. He was awesome. But the show, I had a lot of fun doing it. I hope everybody enjoys it because it comes out tomorrow.
For the crew that's going to be in Green Bay on Wednesday, I think we got to do a watch party. First episode watch party.
Yeah,
with the
we
boys.
will be together.
Yo, wait, we're going Wednesday?
Yeah.
I thought we were going Thursday morning. All right, Wednesday evening. Let's go Wednesday evening. Let's go Wednesday evening.
I think it's Wednesday early afternoon.
Yeah.
Let's go early. Let's go early afternoon Wednesday.
I can already see one thing from seeing the trailer.
Yeah, we got.
You should have had the fade.
Facts.
Boy, you should have had the fade. You're clean with the fade.
I do appreciate that. And I do think the fade, I will say, it looks better than I thought it would. It looks better than I thought it would. However, the maintenance it takes to keep a fade, for that reason, I'm out.
It's only as hard as you make it.
Yeah, man.
I'm like a
one hour every 2 weeks.
3 haircuts a year, 4 haircuts a year type of guy. I like to let it grow out and then eventually look at the mirror and be like, I got to take care of this. So I go and take care of it. I like a little more of a grunge look.
Yeah. Big win for the bus. We've been trying to get Taylor to get this fade.
Yep. Shout out
for
JP.
a minute.
Promises made, promises kept, brother. We got it done. Let's go.
Hey, he'll keep the fade going.
He will.
He'll keep the fade going. Yeah. Because the boy, he likes to look good. He likes to look good. Like, once it grows out, he'll get the fade again.
Says likes to look good. Like, not everybody likes to look good. Look at this. Sure, I'm just doing a little editing. That looks solid, man.
Shout out, no free shout out?
Shout out, no free shout out.
I have a shout out.
Go ahead.
And it's going to be to charcuterie boards.
Let's fucking go, dog.
At the Lewan Easter Bash 2025.
You!
Look, I'm a man who I don't like to socialize a whole lot. I love to sit by a charcuterie board.
Which, by the way, is just such a lie.
Well, I know once you get in the groups, but once you're there feeling it out, like I'm somebody who'll just gravitate more towards the eating table. And then you kind of pick your shots. You kind of like, yeah, you're hoping you find your people there. Has so-and-so showed up yet? And then if new ones are coming over, you're kind of like, man, hopefully this doesn't last too long. But I like to find myself by the eating table. And shout out Jason, but your charcuterie, that whole table setup was as good as I've ever seen.
Let's fucking go.
As good as I've ever seen. And we got a photo up right now, but picture like little moats and crevices going throughout the board. And in those little moats and crevices are like cheese and chocolates, different variations of chocolates. You had your tuna salad sandwiches to where the bread is kind of soft and smashed into the tuna salad. The what's like the yellow orange cheese? Pimento cheese, the little pimento cheese bites.
Jason makes
Holy
fire
shit,
pimento,
bro. The cups that you had with the salami and the cheeses and the olives, like, it was incredible. It was incredible.
Jason is amazing. Jason made Lewan Easter Bash 2025.
Yeah.
What it needed to be. It was awesome. Beautiful shout out.
That's my shout out, no free shout out.
My shout out, no free shout out is the first time being sun-kissed after a long winter. And it kind of goes back to Lewan Easter Bash 2025, man. We were all out there all day. It's like hot, where if it was like, it's been weeks of it being that temperature, everyone would be like, yeah, it's pretty hot out here. But I feel like it was everybody's first time like kind of being out in the open after a long hibernating winter. And everyone's just like enjoying a little bit of sweat going down your cheeks. At the end of the day, I look at Taylor and I go, sweetheart, you got a little red on your face. She's like, look at you.
Catch a little
and I kind of look in the mirror and I'm like, dude, yes, we're back in tan time. It's beautiful. Yeah. Sooner or later, Jack will see me in the Bronco ripping around no shirt, just trying to keep that tan even, baby.
Go drive into that fade.
I'm about it. I love it. Hey, there's not a better feeling, man, than getting that first tan.
Yeah.
Boys, you got any?
I got one kind of on the same lines as yours, but it's the first time you get into a pool after a winter or whatever. And apparently yesterday my cousin told me, he's ex-Army guy, so like I believe what he's saying, was apparently the hottest record on day for April 20th ever earlier this year. So it was a beautiful day yesterday in Nashville. Pool was going. I was at my parents' house and just like getting in there and just diving in, just kind of floating around. You remember, the good times are right on the horizon.
Yeah, they're on the horizon.
And
they're there.
I love the water. So anytime I get in the pool, the ocean, the lake, it's a good day.
Sipping on some neutral.
You sipping on neutral or Bud Light, whatever you want, man. They both work.
Also, you said 420 yesterday.
Oh,
my wife and I celebrated our 9-year anniversary.
Let's go.
9 years, man.
What'd you guys do?
Easter. We just chilled. Man. It was awesome. Like, so.
Did you throw in a rose spark? And spark that shit up?
You don't worry about my personal life.
Put on your birthday suit.
About my personal life.
Netflix and chill on himself.
No.
Let's go, G. Could you imagine me like putting on the show and like kind of inching over to Taylor, start kissing the neck a little bit? She's like, what are you doing? Like,
you into it?
Bucket list.
Yeah.
Are you
Get
still
to watch
watching
me while we get there?
Oh my god.
This is Battle Camp. Yeah, we were sitting there and it was like, we kind of just chilled because it was Easter and the kids were all about Easter. We did this so last year we're driving down Granny White and we see a dog and the dog's just like kind of out in the open. So we get out, we get the dog, we find out, we like go over to these people's houses. This old couple lives in this house. We end up hanging out at their house for like an hour. This lady Margaret's like showing us her greenhouse, their garden. Like, it's just awesome to be around them. They send us they do like a Easter egg hunt for the neighborhood every year. And we went to that, hung out. It was awesome.
Nice.
And then obviously you guys know Jason. Like, I don't want to flex, but like I write every day, Monday through Friday. Like, we're eating like crazy good meals. And so Taylor, like last night, I called Sherm up. I'm like, Torchies, what should I get? So we order a bunch of that Torchies, got that queso. But was it enough? No. Hugh babies, burgers, milkshakes. Just sitting there watching my team, the Toronto Maple Leafs, take 1-0 against the Senators, dude. My team, my boys.
The number 1 seed.
Number 1. Bro, the last time they won a cup? 1967.
The 1 seed.
Not a good year.
Taylor, I'm drawing my line in the sand. The Preds aren't in it.
The Maple Leafs are notorious for getting kicked out of the playoffs in the first round. Notorious for it. And everyone I talk to who's been in the NHL says The Toronto Maple Leafs are like the Dallas Cowboys. Like it's like you're treated like royalty. Like that is like America's team. That's whatever NHL's team. And then Austin Matthews, Scottsdale guy. Senators, their captain, Brady Tkachuk, he's a Scottsdale guy. So I got a couple of AZ boys rocking a C on their chest. Watched some good old-fashioned hockey and watching the boys crush them 6-2. Cashed in. A nice little money line Toronto bet. We're up. We're going to win it all this year.
Let's go.
Let's go.
I got a shout out, no free shout out.
What you got?
This morning I was working out in the garage and I saw something that I wish I could meet the dad that created it. But it's the tennis ball in the garage that lets you know when to stop pulling forward.
Nice.
And it's multi-use. Like when you're growing up, you punch it.
Yeah.
You dodge it. And I saw it in my friend's garage and I'm like, man, whoever this legend was, you know, when he finished screwing in that little thing up top, just stood back, put his hands on his hips, looked at it and was like, I just changed the world.
Yeah.
And he did. And I wish I knew a name.
Can't wait
for
to
him.
tell the rest of the dads at practice.
Right. Like y'all got to do this.
Yeah.
Your wife will never run into the front of your garage again once you do this.
Yeah.
Iconic.
It's a great shout out.
Yeah.
One of the
That's a
greatest
top
inventions
shout-out.
of mankind.
Ever.
Yes. Hence mankind.
Anybody trying to follow that one?
Yeah, I will.
Oh, okay, man.
Oh, shit.
It's not
Yeah, I
like that
got
though. We had I want to shout out Alex Cantu. He came to the shop last week. You guys had just left. He is a border patrol officer down in Texas. Dropped off some patches for the boys. So I said that we would shout him out on the pod. So yeah, shout out Alex Cantu. We appreciate you, what you do down there on the border.
All right.
Now we got some patches show. Shout out Alex.
Shout out Alex, man. Appreciate you coming by, brother.
Let's
We
dive
feel
in.
good? We're good?
Let's dive in.
Dive in. Marcus Mariota, please enjoy this episode. Big hugs, thank you, and subscribe.
We interrupt this episode because we are sponsored by Row. Do you guys ever feel like sometimes you get a little tired or cranky waiting on your Uber driver? I feel that same way with my boner at times. Rose Sparks are a 2-in-1 prescription treatment for guys who need a secret weapon against softness. Rose Sparks can give guys bigger, thicker, and longer erections because they get fuller. Active Rose Sparks dissolve and they work within 15 minutes on average. And if prescribed, new sexual health patients get $15 off their first order of Sparks on a recurring plan. Connect with a provider at ro.co/bussin to find out if prescription Rose Sparks are right for you. That's ro.co/bussin for $15 off your first order. This interview is brought to us by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Bud Light is always brewed with 4 simple ingredients for a clean, crisp taste. Stock up now on Bud Light. Head to www.budlight.com/locator to find a store near you. They are the official beer sponsor of the NFL, the NFL Draft, Tight End U, the UFC, and Shane Gillis's 2025 tour. They're also partners with the boys. Peyton
partners.
Manning, George Kittle, Baker Mayfield, Emmitt Smith, Shane Gillis, Post Malone, and Dustin Poirier.
Taylor Lewan, Will Compton.
Go get you a Bud Light now. Marcus
Mariota.
Mariota,
Give him another
welcome
one.
to Bussin' With The Boys.
It's an honor. It's an honor.
It is an honor to have you on
Stop,
finally.
man. I've been looking forward to this for a long time, and I appreciate you.
You're not a big interview guy.
I'm not.
So we are-
especially
we
in the
are
off
honored,
season
bro.
too, and it's like in my kind of my hometown ish,
Yeah.
you know, and it's like where I really just try to like unwind and not get into too much. So, really, she kind of pushed me to do it.
Shout out Kiyomi, man.
Yes.
You really did?
Not really, no. I was wanting to do it.
Damn. Yeah, I told
mean,
I
you,
just shout out my wife.
If she
I
wanted
just
to,
shout out
you
my
can
wife
jump on
and
the
my
pod.
kid.
Yeah.
If she wanted to. She's over
We
there
got the
with baby
wife.
right now.
We got little
at the
Micah
bus.
here.
See?
Yeah.
See?
Yeah, we'll do a tell-all at the bus. That'll be nice. I know every person in Nashville who has ever gone to a Tennessee Titans football game is smiling ear to ear right now. They're thinking about you. And you were telling a story before about coming back and playing the Titans for the first time. I'd like you to relive that for me in front of this camera.
So back last season was the first time I played against the Titans, and crazy thing, it's been 5 years, and it was a really emotional time for me. It was kind of weird and eerie because it's like, you know, I wasn't playing, and it was like I was going out there and I was seeing. I mean, there's like maybe 2 guys there since I've been there.
Yeah.
You know, but it's a lot of the same resource staff, saw Jab. Of course, saw Jab.
Yeah.
Jeb waddled his ass up to you. Was so happy.
What you
Shout out
need,
Jeb.
Marcus?
Yeah. But got to see Amy and Keith and the ownership, and it was cool. Got to share a moment a little bit and got a big hug, and I was kind of unexpected for me. I didn't know how that was going to go, and they were just very welcoming. And I think for me personally, like, it was such a good 5 years, regardless of how it finished and all that. But there was a lot of good memories in there, and it was kind of cool to share a moment with them. And you never close the door, man. You never close the door.
Yeah. Why did it feel unexpected? Do you feel like it ended in a very awkward way to where you more so, I'm gonna use the word hate for a lack of a better term, but you just have this assumption built up in your head of how it might go?
Yeah,
to where there's a little bit of animosity, but maybe not really.
Yeah,
and how's
I think
this
a
gonna
little
go?
bit of pride, right? At the time, like, Ryan played unbelievable, and I was upset that it wasn't me, and I wanted to be there. I wanted to be a part of that, and when it didn't work out, I didn't know what that response was going to be from people that were around there. I know for how it was for me personally, like, I was upset, but at the same time, we had so many people in there that were so good to me that I was like, I wonder how that's going to like pan out. Like, I didn't really get to say goodbye maybe the way that I wanted to, and to see some familiar faces, the love and all that was still there. Like, it was very genuine, and yeah, it was emotional for me. So it was kind of one of those moments, and it does help when you win the game, obviously. Yeah. But yeah, it was cool to see a lot of old faces.
Did you have a lot of guys in the team leading up to playing the Titans that were like, hey, we're going to get one for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because DQ, he does like a rotation of captains every week. And a lot of times it's guys that either played for that team or whatever. So when it was the Titans week, I was like, he's for sure, like, I was like, he's gonna, because at the end of the day, like, he picks 3 guys, and then like he has a guy basically speak to the team. Mm-hmm. And for me, I was like, I'm probably gonna end up being one of those guys just because how it played out. So it was kind of, the team was like kind of rallying around that, and I'm like, guys, I'm like 5 years removed. Like, I don't, it's that staff, everybody there, like, most of those guys are.
But you
new.
Remember Ben Jones, like, every time we played Houston.
Oh, for sure.
It was always like super personal to him, and he was at the Titans for 7 years.
Yes.
And even in that 7th year, it'd be like, Ben,
it's
we're
okay,
gonna
man.
get this one for you, buddy. You gotta. Don't worry, we're gonna get this one for you.
Yeah.
So they were rallying around you like that.
A little bit, and we had such a good team, just a core group of guys last year that was just fun. It reminded me a lot of like our first few years in Tennessee. Just guys very close, regardless of what side of the ball they played on. So it was a pretty cool moment for me to be a part of that. And yeah, those guys, man, we're gonna get this one for you. I'm like, it's still a regular game for me. Like, we're good, bro.
But when the clock struck 0, there was a piece of you like,
there was a little bit,
that's
for sure.
nature. That's like your competitive nature being
No
like,
doubt.
Got those bastards.
Yeah. How was the goodbye? You say it might not have been the goodbye you wanted to have. Obviously, the way it ended with the Denver game, and we'll get into all that, but like, when you're cleaning out your locker for the last time, do you like remember that? Do you remember looking back and being like, I think, okay, this is probably the last time I'll ever step in this facility again after being picked?
Yeah,
second overall
a little bit.
That?
I think those emotions definitely crossed my mind. What was hard about it was I was like 26, so I was like, I'm gonna find the next spot, and I'm gonna go play, and I'm gonna go prove everybody wrong. And instead of like kind of just, like you said, taking a moment and like realizing like what was really going on, and to just say thank you to a lot of the people that there's people in there, Jeb, Haas. I know Haas isn't there anymore, but just years and years and years of people that, did a lot for you. So I think I was so focused on what was next that I didn't really take time to just say, hey, thank you. We had a good run.
Yeah. It's hard to be present in those moments.
For sure.
It really is.
How was it for you as a player, kind of going through, I'm not going to say first, you've had plenty of adversities, but a big adversity knowing that you were the second overall pick, and probably a part of you feels like maybe yourself personally, like, did I fail this franchise, or am I starting to doubt my ability? Like, bring us in your head of the player in that moment in that year.
Oh, dude, it was, all of that. And I think a lot of that was because have such high expectations for myself that I envisioned being a part of a Super Bowl team there. I envisioned myself kind of like being a guy and playing up to all the expectations. And when it doesn't work out that way, it's a sting. And I think for a long period of time, like I never really had to deal with that. You know, I came here at Oregon and we were rolling, you know, and I
3 or 4 touchdown passes in the first half of his first game?
His first, he had a perfect quarterback rating against Jameis.
Yeah.
That game too, we'll get into that. That game I was like, we're gonna win it all. But the year before that we were 3-13. And I was like, this is awful.
Bro, it's so funny. I'll never forget. I'm sitting next to Craig Stevens after we'd won that game. He looks at me and goes, man, we're going to make the playoffs this year. And then we lose like 6 straight
in a row. I was like, what the? Yeah.
But no, I mean, you go through a lot of ups and sometimes you feel like you're invincible. And I think I was kind of in that mode and I was struggling a little bit, probably I would even say like in 2018, just being hurt. I was like banged up. And
that's right. You had was it the wrist, the hand, the forearm?
I don't wish 2018 upon anybody. Like I had a fracture in my neck. I had a broken rib. I had torn plantar fasciitis. It was a mess. And
sounds like his offensive line needed to do better.
That's not true. That's not true.
That's not true.
I was there. I remember the Ravens game.
Yeah. Hey, that Ravens game was crazy. 11 sacks. 2018 wasn't all bad.
We got to talk about that. We got to talk about that. A lot of that was I was holding the ball. It's fair, you know. But yeah, I think like 2018, 2017, like I didn't feel invincible anymore. I had a really bad ankle injury in 16. Very unfortunate where, you know, you just got legs like tangled up and I broke my ankle. And that was kind of the first time really as an athlete where I didn't feel like, okay, I'm really not superhuman. Like I can get hurt. I can kind of get in trouble in that sense. And it was kind of interesting because I think a lot of that started to develop a little bit of the anxiety, the fear of not being maybe who I thought I was. And I think that all kind of accumulated into what transpired in 19 where, I mean, I wasn't playing well at all, to be completely honest with you. And I think Braves was just trying to like hang on during camp, and we all kind of knew Ryan was playing well. And I think out of respect for me, he was like, just keep it, like, we'll get you there. We'll get you there. Because, I mean, I had played against him. He was a defensive corner in Houston. Like, I had some good runs against him. So he kind of knew what the potential was. And I think I was so lost in my own mind that it kind of just led to what it was. So, yeah, I mean, it's interesting because I think throughout my career, I've kind of had these peaks and valleys, and I'm starting to overcome these valleys because I'm leaning into a little bit more of the mental side of the game. I was so much more like physical. Like I was like, I can just kind of outrun people. I can outthrow people. Now it's like, okay, you can't do that anymore. Like, how are you going to kind of create the advantage, create those types of things? And that's when I started to kind of learn a little bit more about how to play the position. And that was a lot of that had to do with like being with the Raiders and so yeah. But I think over time you just kind of learn, and part of that adversity made me better.
When you talk about things you would do a little bit differently, do you ever wish you were more vocal with the OCs?
Yes.
One thing I noticed there's one thing I did notice when they're like, what was the difference between Ryan and Marcus, is you always were very agreeable. Like, you were always super easy to get along with. It always seemed like, hey, Marcus, you're gonna do this, this, and this. And there was never pushback in a team meeting room. But I remember, I think it was the game after the Denver game.
Yeah.
We were playing the
Ryan's
Chargers.
First start. I remember
Ryan's first start, and him and Arthur, I walked into the little cafeteria on Saturday. And I literally hear Ryan going, don't call this play. Yeah. Call this one. I like this play on first down. I like this play on second down. And he seemed like a guy that's been in the league for a long time and has had more valleys.
Yeah.
And so when you look back at that, like what would you have done differently from like a vocal standpoint with these OCs?
I think you said it. I think just being open and transparent about what I felt most comfortable with. Because I think the ego for me is like, I can do anything. Whatever you want me to do, I'll do it. Mm-hmm. But there's things that you really like and there's things that you're good at. And I think I could have been more transparent about, hey, I don't see that very well. I'm not into that. I don't like hard play action, turning my back and like trying to figure out what's going on. Like being able to communicate those things early on in my career, I think would have helped And that's something that like with me now, like being able to like, hey, Jay, talking about Jaden, like tell him what you like and what you don't like, you know, just kind of passing some of that knowledge on a little bit so that maybe he doesn't kind of follow the footsteps that I did.
You mentioned figuring some things out with the Raiders. What was it about the Raiders that was kind of bringing you out of your shell or your development, or maybe it was coming out of that valley and being in a completely new environment? Because sometimes that's super helpful for a player.
Yeah, a lot of that. A lot of it was Coach Gruden. He was like, hey, I want you to come here for a couple years, just like find yourself. I know you're kind of not who you are. You're like you're kind of lost. And he's like, man, just take your time, figure it out. And I have a lot of respect for Coach Gruden. I know people may have however they feel about him, but at that point in time in my career, that's exactly what I needed. And I was in a great quarterback room. Like Derek's awesome. And being able just to kind of find the love again almost, of like competing and having fun. And a lot of that was just like Gruden, like, hey, just go out there and feel free to make a mistake. Like, you don't have to be perfect. So I really kind of aligned with that, and I felt very comfortable with it. And then on top of that, like Vegas is like the 9th island. So people in Hawaii, when they go to vacation, they go to Vegas. And for me, I had a lot of family and friends there. So like I felt very comfortable in that community, and it made it really easy for me just to kind of transition with my family. And I think a lot of that was kind of why I felt like I found myself again.
Talk about the this place we're at right now, Oregon. Like, what has changed so much since you've been here? Because it seems like they just keep growing every single year, and things just keep getting better and better.
It's impressive. It's impressive. There was a streak there when we were done where there was kind of a transition of coaches over and over again. But I think the heart and soul of the program has always been Eugene. It's like the only thing in town, right? Like, no matter, regardless of how the team's doing, like that stadium's usually sold out. And there's such a crazy following here. So to have that kind of steady fandom, I think has always propelled this place to be good. And it's always given this place like expectations. And regardless of who's been the coach, I think guys have always tried to come here because it is the University of Nike. And when you look at it from that standpoint and you let these guys just come in here and play and put it together, you can find ways to be pretty good here. And I think Dan's kind of found the formula, and it's been cool to watch.
What's it like when you walk into this building and you go up? I don't know. This place is a maze, but you walk up the stairs, one of these 17 staircases, and you look over, and it's got the islands of Hawaii.
Yeah.
And there's another hallway that has the 8 Mariota jersey. Like,
Yeah.
what is that like? What does that feel like?
Well, our
'Cause
first
truly-
visit here, we're walking in, we're like, yo, this is Marcus's house.
Like, it's crazy. You're only Heisman Trophy winner. It's sitting right there.
It's surreal, man. And
Don't do that.
no, I know it's really, and I don't want to get emotional because it is. It like, you know, I came here, I was 17 years old. Like, didn't have much thought about what was going on outside of Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
And come to this place in Eugene, I was so homesick my first year. But like, they took me kind of under their wing, and regardless of who it was, like it was people in the community, it was the staff. A lot of the trainers are still here that I was here with. So they really kind of helped me transition into who I was. And yeah, it does get a little emotional because it's such a part of you. And it's kind of, like I said, it's surreal, like to think that middle of the Pacific, some kid gets to come here and become the only Heisman Trophy winner. Like that's where I don't even know what the odds are of that, right? Like that's wild.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of blows my mind, and still to this day, like even walking through there, it's just surreal.
How'd you go through the process of choosing Oregon?
That's a great story, actually. So they offered me before I even started a game in high school.
Before you even started
yeah.
a game?
So there was a guy in front of me. His name was Jeremy Higgins. He's an all-state player. He was great. Left-handed kid, could really throw it. And was committed to Utah State. So I really just had to wait my turn. And I messed around playing receiver. Like I was doing all sorts of stuff. And I had kind of done the camp circuit and got my name out there, I guess.
Camp circuit, like Nike camps?
So Spark did the Nike Spark camp.
Yeah, the
did a
Sparks.
couple combines. they used to hold like these PIAA combines in Hawaii.
And how old are you at this time? Like, what are you, like a sophomore junior?
Probably.
All right. And hadn't started yet.
Yeah, hadn't played. I mean, I played a game here or there when we were blowing teams out, or when Jeremy had gotten hurt. I played a little bit, but nothing to the extent to receive. And Oregon at the time was like playing a national championship.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a weird, wild story that like, why are you offering this kid who hasn't even played yet? But what I learned the story was the offensive line coach here, Coach Greatwood, was going and recruiting, and he was recruiting at my high school. Monta Greg, who ended up playing here, was playing guard. And it just so happened while he was there, he, I guess, had noticed me running. Like we were running sprints or something, and had threw my name out there. So they invited me to come to the camp here. And someone showed me a video, but Johnny kind of talked about this a little bit, Johnny Manziel. And at the time, I was offered and Johnny was offered, but they invited me to this camp, and they basically were like, put me on this team to, I don't know, play with all these other high school kids. And I'd been there for 2 days. I'm in pads, like doing all this stuff. And Johnny shows up, unpadded, T-shirt and shorts, goes in there, says they're going to do a workout with him. Coach Kelly hasn't really even talked to me. I've been here for 2 days. He's like, hey, like, why don't you just come in, like, just do a workout with Johnny? And I'm mad because I'm like, Johnny's not even been here. He's like offered, whatever. Like, I was just like not feeling the love, basically. Yeah. And we run a 40, we're throwing, and Johnny, the workout was unbelievable. Like, I mean, I can still remember to this day, like, I don't think a ball touched the ground. And it's funny to think, 10 years later or whatever it is, but like, you had 2 Heisman Trophy winners sitting there going through a workout together. But I just remember at the time I left and Johnny commits, and I was so mad because I'm like, he hasn't been here. I've been here a couple of days. Like, I've been talking to the coaches. Like, he just commits on the spot, and I don't even have a chance to commit or whatever. And I was like upset about it. And we're on the plane ride home, and I told my mom, like, I want to go to Washington. I had got an offer from Washington. Steve Sarkisian was up there, and Sark was like, wrote out the red carpet. We had talked, I was like, I'm going there. I'm set.
You felt the love from there.
Yeah. So we're sitting there on the plane, and my mom's like, you really want to go to Washington? I was like, no. I mean, Oregon was like everywhere I wanted to be. And she's like, at some point in time, you're going to have to compete. So you might as well compete wherever you go, and you might as well go where you want to go. And she told me that, and that was it. And I committed when we got home, and kind of the rest is history. But yeah, that's why I ended up. I was so set on being an Oregon Duck because of guys that had played before me. Like, there's a guy named Jeremiah Masoli who went to my high school, had played quarterback here. And I just remember watching the Ducks as a kid, and I was like, that's where I want to be.
Yeah.
So for my mom to say that to me in that point in time, I was like, well, yeah, I might as well compete and go where I want to go. So that's how I ended up.
That's awesome.
That is wild, because I did see, I think that was on Club Shay Shay, that Johnny was talking about him seeing Marcus, and he's like, this fucking guy he talks about the workout like not a ball touched the ground. Have you seen that clip? That's it. Yeah. And that's what Johnny's like, I'm not going to make it at Oregon. He basically said, because of Marcus, I'm not going to make it at Oregon and go stay in him.
That's wild.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was it
crazy.
like, dude? Talk about growing up in Hawaii. Like, anytime that I've taken my family down for a vacation, I've seen 8 jerseys in Hawaii. And the culture there, like, even listening to you in the interview, like the perspective that you have, the peaks and valleys, and just the intention and the moments that you seem to live in and appreciate, I feel like that's all over Hawaii. Like, that's like Hawaiian culture. Like, everybody seems to be so proud of guys like yourself, Manti Te'o, guys who have like made it on the mainland, and talk about that.
Yeah,
sorry, I'm like sitting
no,
there.
you're
I'm sitting there running. I'm like,
does in the show's like, talk about it.
yeah. I can talk about that, man.
It's funny because growing up, when you like watch the news and they would like the sports would come on, they would just show the athlete. Like, they wouldn't even really care about what the score was, like whether they play in the NFL, MLB, like whatever. It was like, hey, so-and-so from Hawaii was 2 for 3 and hit a home run. And it was like, oh, by the way, like the Boston Red Sox won the game. So like very early on, like as a kid, it was always highlighted like people from Hawaii. And you kind of like, that was like, oh, it's a responsibility. Like, you want to be able to represent that the best way possible. So that was kind of always in my mind. And then really, I think for Hawaii, like there is a little bit of a chip on your shoulder. Like you're not a part of the continental U.S. So it's like, you know, the closest landmass is 5.5 hours away. So it's like, yeah, there is a little bit of a chip on your shoulder. And everyone's always talking about, oh, you're from Hawaii. Like, you know, maybe the football is a little different down there or whatever. And it was just kind of that type of chip on your shoulder. And people always highlighting those athletes. And I think that really just like creates like this really crazy fandom, you know, and it's a blessing in disguise. And I really like, whenever I look back and think about it, like I'm very lucky to be where I'm from. And when it's all said and done, that's where you'll find me, somewhere on the beach. I'll be like 300 pounds, but I'll be on the beach.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Dude, you've been there? All the rice and
It's
all
amazing. It's amazing. When you go there, is it like a movie star showing up?
No.
Bro, it has to be.
No.
Is it crazy?
No.
I'll ask the missus. Do what?
We're not walking around the malls.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't imagine what it's like.
It's really honestly not that bad.
Who do you think's more famous in Hawaii, you or Manti Te'o?
I'd give Manti. He's got his own Netflix, bro.
He does have his own Netflix. He's got his own Netflix.
But
I mean, I was kind of a third part of Pat and Kirk. You know, they were just like, oh, we'll kind of put Marcus in there. So
no, dude.
Dude, how was that experience doing the quarterback?
Oh, dude. It was all right.
Safe space.
Yeah, safe space.
It was. I will say our crew that we had for Netflix it was awesome. They're unbelievable. Shannon and that entire group were great, especially with Kiyomi being pregnant with her first. Like, very respectful of the space and all that. It was old though. After really like a week, I was like, I don't know why I signed up for this.
They're just in your house every day, all the time?
Well, they were like, for outside stuff, they were cool. They were like, hey, I know Kiyomi's pregnant, like just once every couple of weeks, just like let us come do something, whether it was like meeting with Taylor, our chef, or, you know, like coming to the ultrasound and different things like that. So they really kind of kept a safe space, but like I was Mike for like every practice, every game. It was brutal.
It's mind blowing to think that you signed up for that. Just
kind
of knowing you and how you
dude,
like. You hate that.
I'm not gonna lie to you. Like the money was good, so I was like not gonna turn that down.
Hell of a show too. It was awesome.
Dude, they sat there like, hey, will you do this for this? I was like, yeah,
100%, 100%. We'll do that for that.
Yeah.
We're gonna wrap this episode to bring you Manscaped. Did you know one man every hour, every day is diagnosed with testicular cancer? In fact, it's the most common form of cancer among men ages 15 to 35. April is National Testicular Cancer Awareness Month, which is why I wanted to take a second to talk about men's health issues that are important to me. And that's why Manscaped has partnered with the Testicular Cancer Society to raise awareness and encourage early detection. Manscaped is putting action behind their words and donating $50,000 to the Testicular Cancer Society to help save lives and promote routine self-checkups. I'm excited to introduce a special edition bundle from Manscaped that not only keeps you fresh and well-groomed, but also supports an amazing cause. Meet the TCS Ball Hero Bundle, featuring the special edition TCS Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra and the special edition TCS Boxers 2.0, all designed to keep you feeling smooth, comfortable, and confident. Join the over 12 million men worldwide who trusted Manscaped and use code BUSSIN to get 20% off plus free shipping at manscaped.com.
And let me tell you about the tangibles with this Lawnmower 5.0. The trimmer is both cordless and waterproofed, equipped with a powerful LED light that you can shave with confidence navigating through tricky regions. And once you're done grooming, you deserve to feel comfortable. That's where the special edition TCS Boxers 2.0 comes in and features a brand new purple camo look. They're designed to be anti-chafing, high-performance boxer briefs that are as stylish as they are comfortable. There's a limited supply, so these special edition products won't last long. Get your bundle while supplies last, and let's help raise awareness for testicular cancer together. Get 20% off plus free shipping with promo code BUSSIN at manscaped.com. Visit manscaped.com/TCS to learn more about how to check yourself or make a donation to @TCS Society. Sorry, let me say that again. Or make a donation at TC Society today to save lives and balls. Back to this episode. Now that you're a couple years removed from it, from your perspective, what went down at Atlanta? Because there were obviously stories that came out of your like questioning your commitment to the team.
Yeah.
Obviously, being a teammate of yours, it's like you're reading that stuff and trying to fill in whatever gaps without being like, "Hey, Marcus, what happened in Atlanta?" Like fresh off of Atlanta.
Yeah, no, it was. And we talked about peaks and valleys. Like that was a valley for sure. I think, and we all kind of know Art. Like Art's a very emotional person, so I think sometimes he can kind of maybe say some things that, give or take, maybe not what he wanted to say or wanted to portray. And it was one of those things where we were all pretty aligned of like what was going to happen. I was signed there for 2 years.
Yeah.
And it kind of flipped, and I don't really know the extent why. And nothing against Art. Like, I understand being a head coach, it's a hard position. I understand that it can make you do some things that maybe you don't want to do, right? But at the same time, like, some things were said, and it was almost like I just kind of had to remove myself from that situation just because I was like, first of all, I didn't want to be distracted. I never want to be a distraction. Like, that was never the intent. At the time, I was not sure how bad of a knee injury I had, and when they wanted to go in a different direction with Dez, they were like, hey, you're signed for a couple years. We love to have you. So in my mind, I was like, well, at that point in time, like, let me just go make sure my knee's like ready to roll, regardless of whatever that looks like. And, unfortunately, like when I left to go get the surgery, like things were said. And yeah, but at the end of the day, like I saw Art the other day, or not the other day, but during the season, and I got nothing but love for him. Like, he gave me a chance really after Vegas. Well, I almost said Oakland, but
almost then did.
But he gave me a chance to be a guy, right? He gave me a chance to play, and I don't have any animosity towards that. Situation kind of unfolded the way that it did, and it was unfortunate because I think at the end of the day, like, I'm not sure my relationship with Art will ever really be the same. But when you look back on it, like, I learned a lot from it, and it made me appreciate being around people that care for you and want you to be around. So, is
there anything you would have done different in those moments, looking back on how everything unfolded?
I guess if I had known maybe what was going to be said, for people, I guess I don't know, like, he kind of came out after I think it was like, we had a bye week. Micaiah was born on Wednesday. He brought me in on Thursday. Was like, hey, we're going to go in a different direction. Take some time to kind of talk it through, talk it to your agent, whatever.
Tough timing.
Yeah, tough, right? There's a lot of emotions kind of built in there. So, talked to my agent, and we were just like, it was very much like, hey, they want you back for another year. You're kind of, technically we're not out of it, but we were out of it in terms of playoff positioning. He's like, let's just go, maybe make sure your knee's good to go and attack this at camp again and see where you stand. Talk to Art, talk to Terry, and that was kind of, when I left, we were kind of all aligned in that. And my thought was that I was going to go get surgery, come back, and kind of be around and help Daz if he needed it. And then some things were said on Monday with Art, and at that point in time, I was like, I don't want to just kind of pop back in and like make this a whole ordeal. So I'll just kind of take it on the chin and just kind of step away from it. And, guys reached out and called and kind of checked in to see what was going on. But yeah, it was just like, I never want to be kind of the center of attention. I just kind of want to do my job and make sure others around me are kind of getting better and I can help them kind of achieve what they want to achieve. So for me, like, I saw Dez after the whole conversation, talked to him, I was like, hey man, if you ever need anything, I'm here for you. I'm going to go get my knee fixed, but don't hesitate to call or whatever. And I left. And looking back on it, I probably should have stuck around maybe till the following week and just talked to the team. But in my mind, I was like, I'm coming back anyways.
Right, you felt like you were aligned.
Yeah, and I felt like I was like, okay, I'm not disappearing. Like, I'm going to come back and like be around. But once that was said, I was like, yeah, I don't think it's probably healthy for anybody for me just to walk back in there.
Yeah, make it awkward.
Yeah, so I was just, stepped away. And, and like I said, like, I think with Art, it's unfortunate because I do think he's a good guy. Like, and when you're put in positions where it's like, maybe things aren't going the way that you want and things aren't really materializing. You know, I think unfortunately it can get a little bit where I don't want to say like cover your ass, because I really don't think that's what it was. I just think like he didn't know what to say, and I wasn't there to make any sort of comment on it, and I think that's really why maybe it went down that road. But at the end of the day, I saw Art. Like I said, I don't got any hate in my heart for him. It is what it is.
The relationship's just a little bit different now.
Yeah.
This stuff happens, man. I mean, Art is an emotional guy, and he does like say a lot of things, and I'm sure it was tough for both of you, right? Because you guys had a great relationship before at the Titans, and then he's a head coach as well, first time. And he's trying to figure out the best way, and everybody knows like you don't win games, you're gonna get fired
for sure.
So he's probably dealing with like very similar stress as you were feeling that whole entire time. So that's got to be really tough for you too. Pivoting back to when you're in for the draft, when did you know like, okay, I'm probably gonna be a Titan? At some point, do you think? Did you think you were gonna go to Tampa?
No, I knew I wasn't in that mix.
But it seemed like it was like Jameis or Marcus.
Yeah, I went down there. I met with Lovey, Coach Smith, Jason Light, the GM, and I just didn't feel like I was kind of in the mix. I think they were just like, hey, it was like, we want you to come in, kind of meet you, get to know you a little bit, but
check a box
a little bit, which I was like, okay, that's, hey man, you got.
Why do you think that was? You just won the Heisman, all that.
I have no idea.
Just Jameis was their guy in their head already.
And I think when you have the first pick, like you have opportunities to really diagnose everything. And for whatever reason, maybe my tape or whatever it was, you know. But I didn't really think I was in that mix. But then what was really interesting was I get drafted to Tennessee. They pull me, my agent and my marketing agent pull me in the back. And they're like, hey, don't put the hat on yet. Don't put the jersey on yet. Like, we don't really know exactly what's going to happen. Like, you might still end up getting moved. So for like an hour, I didn't take a picture, didn't do the media, waited, and then did all that after it was like confirmed. But
so what was your agent and your marketing guy thinking?
Well, Philly with Chip.
That's right.
Oh yeah.
He had the infamous quote of being like, he went past a house and realized it was too much money.
Yeah, something like that. But I think that's what it was. I can't say for certain. But yeah, that was just kind of what happened. And then along the lines of that, when I got to Nashville, I didn't have a suit or anything, so I actually borrowed Wiz's like dress shirt and like put on a suit coat just to do the pictures and all that stuff. Because I was so far in Hawaii, like to get over for the next day for the press conference, like we flew like all night, so I didn't have time to actually get a suit. I didn't even own a suit really. I had a couple from
Heisman
the
trophy winner doesn't.
I had a couple from the ceremonies. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, I didn't have a suit ready to go. I guess.
Did Chip or anybody call you during that process? Because obviously you guys had a good relationship.
They did not.
No?
Isn't that weird? I feel like coming out of college, I'm thinking if Bo was like on coaching a team or something, I feel like I'd be like, hey, you think I'm gonna get drafted? Like, what's the board
first
in the
round,
NFL
Compton?
saying?
What do you say?
Yeah.
Take
like,
a shot,
what's the
man.
board saying? And I'm thinking like, if I'm gonna be a potential top 5 pick, my head coach, who I've had such an incredible relationship with during college, win the Heisman Trophy, all the accolades that they got together, like you'd think like it would be. There'd be some communication.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, hey, what are you guys thinking out there in Philly?
Now Chip's at Philly.
Would love to come play out for you, Chip, in Philly.
Come on.
Where'd you want to go?
Philly.
I never had a preference. I was just like, man. No, seriously.
But Chip Kelly, who you've already had so much success in his offense.
Yeah, absolutely.
But he's probably thinking,
but I was like, I'll just go.
Probably.
Philly's awesome. You guys got it messed up.
I'm saying coming out, like knowing how you were with Hawaii, being very homesick at Oregon, then it's just such, it's
so
across
far.
the country.
Farther away.
Yeah, like you're still a kid, like as you're getting drafted.
Yeah, it's like an hour and a half.
Right, I'd love to play for
Nashville
you,
to Philly,
Coach Kelly, but
it's like no difference at all, the distance.
That was the first thing when I got drafted. My mom looks at me, she goes, that is so far. I'm like, sorry, Mom.
You probably hope like Arizona or San Diego or something like that. Dude, I remember when you got drafted, I was at Nissan Stadium for like they were doing like a host show thing, and obviously I was massive boys with Mettenberger.
Yeah.
And Met's personality. So when you got picked, I was like, fuck. I was so mad that you were picked Because I was like, in my head, I'm like, Zach's gonna take us to the top, man. He's the one. He's the one to get it done. And then you get picked, whatever. I immediately leave the thing. I call Zach. I'm like, where you at? He's like, I'm at my house. So I went and sat with him for a little bit. But I remember
That guy
OTAs
Matt, man.
during it was like rookie minicamp. We're all kind of like peering out the window, like, hey, what's this kid about? What's this Hawaiian guy all about? And you were zipping the ball on the field. I remember sitting there with Matt thinking to myself, it's so over.
It's done.
You are done, amigo. It is done. But Zach, he was such a, I mean, how, like, is there anybody like Zach Mettenberger?
There isn't.
No.
There isn't.
It was.
I did enjoy my time with Matt. Like, obviously, when you walk in the building, like, that's such a weird, awkward
not to cut you off,
relationship.
could not. Have you been around Zach?
A couple times.
Completely different personality.
Yeah.
Zach's like, hey, watch me spin this bitch. And Marcus is like, I don't really want to be the center of attention. I want to help everybody else out. Make sure everyone's doing great.
Whatever you guys want me to do out there. Trust me, I
Whatever
can do
you guys
it.
need me to do, I'm there. Zach's like, I'm going to fucking light the world on fire.
But I think that was what was cool. Like, when I walked in there and, you know, after, like, Wiz kind of like gave me the job early on.
Yeah.
And I felt bad about it because I was like, I hadn't even been here yet. And being around Matt, like, his personality, like, I just kind of wanted to, like, not disrupt, not like step on his toes, really. And being around him, he was very almost welcoming, and he was just like, hey, man, I know you're not very vocal, but, like, if you need me to yell at somebody, like, I'll do it for you. I was like, perfect, man. We're on the same page.
Just imagine me like, Matt, 65, get him. Just start screaming
77, can you help me out here?
Yeah. What was it like walking into that building? Because you come from a place like this, and then that was a huge shock for me, as like going from college facilities to NFL facilities, and being like, it's kind of
A dump.
Yeah.
I mean, to put it,
I
think Washington has newer facilities now, but even going to Washington, it's like you have the kitchen set up and it's just like buffet style food where it just has a red, yellow, and green card on if it's okay to eat.
Yeah.
And you're just thinking like, what in the fuck
Why is there
going
red
on?
if it's not okay?
You're doing walkthroughs in like a basketball gym.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, yeah, and it's I'm
so
sure
yeah,
it's like
a dump
like
relative to
99%
college.
of NFL teams,
Yeah.
right? So I'm not just specifically going at the Titans. I just remember going from like Michigan,
Yeah,
and like then I go here and I'm like, you guys got a cold tub? They're like, it's around the corner.
But we had the
You guys
silver.
got float tanks?
We had like
No.
the silver ones, or like a Rubbermaid tub as like the
Yeah.
cold tubs that like Arakpo and Fletch would set up.
Yeah,
But not like an in-ground cold
Yeah.
tub whirlpool.
The
It's
old-
a different world.
the old cold tubs we had. You were there for when they went to the new setup.
no, I didn't. I was the only thing that was new was they kind of redid the locker room.
Yeah, because they had those.
But the bathroom, they redid the locker room, but the bathroom wasn't done yet.
Right.
Yeah.
So you walked into a construction zone that already wasn't that great, and so you probably had to be thinking to yourself like, this is fucking crazy.
Well, the original one that I walked into was the old one,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, okay, here we go. You know, this is
Gonna have to figure out how to
Well, we didn't even have a
outsource.
sauna. I don't think.
no, we had nothing in there.
We had nothing.
Or maybe we had a sauna, but I don't know if it was working.
And they had those big boxy like lockers, like the thing when you put your shoes in the thing.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, this is such an eyesore. And it made the like the area to walk through like so hard to like get from point A to point
I
B.
mean, even when I was there in 18, the sauna was broken like the entire year.
entire
It was just
year.
the steam room that was open.
Were you there when the kid got cut and he pissed in the sauna?
No.
Were you weren't there?
I don't remember that.
There was one kid, yeah, he got cut like I think halfway through camp, even before cuts. And we walked in the locker room, I was like, it smells terrible in here. And some guy's like, yeah, babe. I think it was Haas. Yeah, babe, somebody pissed in the sauna, babe. Apparently some guy just like peed on the hot sauna coals, and that was his like
Fuck this.
tip of the cap.
Yeah.
I'll see you guys later. But yeah, it's just different. It's just
Yeah,
different going
different.
from college to NFL.
Different.
So like how was that for that transition?
I think I was just like so happy to be there. I didn't even really think about it. Looking back on it, like it was like not the greatest, but yeah, it was what it is what it was, you know.
Yeah.
How was it compartmentalizing playing ball to the best of your ability and also the expectation of being a second overall pick? I want to say you're the high. I mean, oh yeah, we did interview Jameis, but we didn't ask him about this. But I feel like being a high overall pick as a quarterback, I'm always curious, like, do you feel that pressure expectation?
Yeah, I think it was more from myself, like more internal. Like I was more worried about like me living up to my own standard, which I think sometimes can be detrimental as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was so focused on making sure I was like trying to play to the best of my abilities that I lost a little bit of like being able to just enjoy like what was going on, like
Staying
the guys.
light.
Yeah.
That first game, man. Like obviously, like we talked to Jameis and we're like, hey, did you have a like kind of like a rivalry with Marcus at all? And he was like, yeah,
did you
we
listen
kind of
to that?
did.
I saw parts of it.
Yeah. So he was kind of talking about like how there was like kind of a rivalry,
Yeah.
and like kind of wasn't. And then you guys like made amends or whatever. Well, he probably made amends.
He was talking about you guys were like combine training, and the way he's thinking in his head is like he's like bucking up, kind of peacocking a little bit.
Yeah.
Like it felt like a competition,
which
to
has
him.
got to be the
And
funniest
he's like
thing.
Marcus wasn't really giving a whole lot, and just knowing you, I'm thinking I wonder if Marcus was even thinking about
even
that.
aware that a rivalry was taking place.
Yeah.
Marcus is like just doing his work, and Jameis is like flexing in the corner. Just a
Well, it's
couple
funny
of
because
cocksmen.
we never even like worked out together. Like,
Really?
So the guy that we trained with, Ryan Flaherty, one of my closest friends still to this day, but like he like tried to time it out where we were separate because I think he felt like that was what it was, and I like literally was like, that's not something that crosses my mind. Like Jameis is in there working out, like cool, like I don't care.
Didn't Jameis say he would see Marcus working out and be like, I don't want to go in there? Am I just making that up?
I think that might be like a little bit seasoned. Like you put a little extra sauce on that, but there was definitely like
it was a true
seeing Marcus
competition.
work out. Yeah, that's CTE brain for both of us because there's definitely something.
We all have it, boys. It's okay.
2 months ago.
We all have
Yeah,
it.
but that first game, like it is what it is. We kind of talked about it a little bit, but like, did you?
Let's do it
Oh,
again.
dude.
Were you excited to kind of put it
Man,
to?
what? I was like, we got this.
You're like,
Yeah.
yo,
I was
Hall
like,
of Fame. Here
I mean,
we come, baby.
your first pass was a touchdown.
It's this easy out here? This is the NFL? Throwing
Your
three
first
tutties
throw
in
was a
the first
touchdown.
half?
Yeah.
No, that was I think that was like maybe the third or fourth. The one to Kendall.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like the third or fourth. My first throw, I'll never forget, was roll pass. Under center roll pass to the right. And
We just run to the left, by the way.
it was to the back was like the first read. And you know, you're nervous. It's your first game playing in the NFL. I was going number one the whole way, and I threw it to Bishop, and he got smoked by Levante David. I was like, sick. Good start. Good start.
Yeah,
Good start.
sick.
We rolled them, man.
Oh,
and then
dude.
literally halfway through that year, Wizenhunt's gone,
Yeah.
and then your boy took the reins.
Oh, Malarkey.
Mm-hmm.
Bro.
Do you want to talk about it?
Absolutely.
All right, cool.
So I
Now, before we start, Malarkey's the one that you did not like, right?
I am on record saying I despised Mike Malarkey.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm on record.
Is that the one where you had the C patch and got it taken away?
They
to see
got
that
they
coach?
straight, actually. Well, that's something you and I should iron out. They took my C and gave it to you. That's pretty crazy, right?
I also
That was like-
I also
hey,
owe you
hey,
a lot of fine money too.
That was what's that?
I said I also owe you a lot of fine money too.
No. I loved doing that. That was like my favorite thing in the world was bucking up for 8.
Hey, that's funny. Your C got taken
so
away, and then
Mike
Marcus
Malarkey-
gets it the next
See, I
day.
didn't even realize.
play-
I didn't even realize that's what it was.
We-
I was
we
like,
know,
they
of
like
course you
gave.
did.
They're like, hey, here's just you got a C patch. I was like, oh, okay, cool.
So we played Houston. Let me relive this for a second. Will. We played Houston. We get donkey stomped in Houston. And on the way home, I think before the wheels even touch, we're like, Ken's out of here. The next day, news breaks, Ken Wisenhunt's out, Mike Malarkey stepping in as the interim head coach. Text, no, I'm sitting at home. And Mike Malarkey texts me and he's like, hey, come see me in my office tomorrow. And I was like, all right. And
His first day there.
This is like the night of the news breaking of Ken. This is like, so it's Monday. Tuesday, I walk in his office and I literally made the joke, taking my C away. And he goes, yeah, we're going to take your C away. Here's the deal.
Was Malarkey there with Wizenhunt?
Malarkey was the tight ends coach.
Okay, all right.
Tight ends coach, which Malarkey as a tight ends coach, all-time guy. Like he had a good vibe about him, was like one of the boys type of thing. He got that crown placed on his head and a whole lot of things changed. A whole lot of things
His
changed.
first order of
His
business?
first order of business. And you know what his reasoning was? His reasoning, he goes to me, he goes, hey, listen, like, obviously the team's not doing very well right now. You're a young guy, and this is a lot to be like putting on you to have a C on your chest. So like, we're gonna take it. We'll let you focus on being you and give to somebody older. Then they called Marcus, who's a year
I don't
younger
even think
than
that
me.
was me though. I don't think they gave it to me. I don't remember having this.
Marcus, there's only 4 captains, and they took mine off and they gave one to you. Like, where do you think that C came from?
How are you playing at this time?
I was playing all right. I think my rookie year was better. I played better my rookie year than I did my second, but I wasn't.
Were you a distraction in the locker room?
No, I don't think so. I mean, was I?
No.
I was more of a
dis-
distraction playing.
He was a distraction in the huddle.
Yes.
Delaney used to be like, Taylor, get over here. Taylor would be over there talking to who knows who, and we're like 30 seconds on the play clock. And I'm over there trying to call the play, and I'm like, where's Taylor? And Delaney's like, Taylor, get your ass over here.
A lot of shit talking. He was over there kind of spouting.
I'm like,
off.
he doesn't really need to know the play. Like, Ben's going to tell him what to do anyway.
That did, yeah. Ben kind of just would say one thing, and be like, all right, we got it. We had a nice operation, but yeah, he took the C. I totally forgot that he gave it to you, and it literally didn't register. This is how dumb I am. It didn't register till like 3 weeks later. That like, oh, he told me he was gonna give somebody older, and then he gave it to a guy that's a year, like in his rookie season.
Yeah, that's tough.
That was tough.
was,
but I do think I got to see. I think a reason why I got to see was Ken knew he was on the chopping block, and I was his first round pick, the year prior.
Got you.
And so there was like, I think it was a politic game for him because even some of the older guys were like, "What do you?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Come on, man."
But Marcus is that Malarkey's one of his boys.
Yeah, go ahead, Marcus.
Yeah, I mean, Mike's been good to me, so I can't talk trash about him. I mean, there's.
I thought we were aligned, Marcus.
I'm not gonna.
It's just as good.
I'm gonna play the
disagreement.
politically neutral game here.
That's
and just
smart.
Kinda,
That is smart, but we beat the Saints in overtime
we did.
right after that and didn't
That
win
was-
another one
I threw the luckiest touchdown of my life.
to Delaney.
Oh my goodness! I was trying to throw it away. They brought Fire Zone. I'm a rookie. Protections is just like whatever,
Yeah.
I'll figure it out later. And they basically brought four to the side, and I was hot. And I was just like, I'm just going to try to throw it away. And I threw it in the direction of Delaney, who was running a sail route. When I threw it, I was like, I didn't put enough on that. And then I'm like watching the ball, and I see Delaney start to track it. And then Jarius Byrd, I think it was Jarius Byrd. Played at Oregon, by the way.
Stud.
Dude,
Missouri
he hits
boy.
it up in the air. Delaney catches it, scores like a 60-yard touchdown. I was like, wow.
Isn't the Saints are like still the Saints too?
Yeah. I mean, Drew was there.
Yeah.
Didn't the field goal go off the upright to go into overtime?
For us or them?
Them. Like, they missed
I can't
it.
remember.
I got him.
What was it? It was it Fasano or Stevens who won the
Fasano.
Fasano. Yeah, 15 was a tough year. It was a tough year, but you're just getting your feet wet.
I was swimming.
Yeah,
I was just trying to tread water.
You made it through that whole season?
Did not.
Damn.
I did not at all when I was in Tennessee.
But yeah, but 15, like our offensive line. Ben wasn't there yet.
Ben wasn't there.
It was me, Chance,
Andy Gaelic.
Andy Gaelic, but it
Yeah.
was Schwenke before.
Schwenke
And he ended up getting hurt
broke
against
his
the
ankle.
Dolphins. And then kind of a revolving door at right guard and left and right tackle. So you didn't have a whole lot of protection. And the offense we were running was insane for an offensive line that wasn't seasoned.
I have a funny story about that. So quarterback wristband, right? No, I never wore one. We were no huddle here. I was like no huddle in high school. So, first game they gave me one. We did fine. Second game we're playing up in Cleveland, and the numbers for the wristband are 1 through whatever. I think there was like 80, 90, 100, maybe 100 plays or whatever. And I took a sack. It was like 2 minute, and our 2 minute menu with Wiz was 1 through 10. So he's yelling 4, 4, 4. So I'm like getting everybody in the huddle. I'm going off wristband 4. Well, the first like 5 plays of the wristband are usually like specials or like, trick plays. So I don't know. It's like with like minute and 10 seconds left before half. And I call this play and it's a reverse to Harry Douglas. And I'm like getting ready to call, and like people are like looking at me like, you sure about this? I'm like, that's what they said 4. And I'm like, I take the snap, we do the reverse to Harry, we get tackled for like a 5-yard loss or whatever. I come off to the sideline, he goes, what were you doing? Why'd you call? I'm like, you said 4. Like, I'm looking at play 4 on the wristband. He goes, oh, no. We're talking about play 4 on the 2 minute menu. I was like, that's tough, man.
Yeah.
Just
That's
a 5-yard loss.
Yeah.
Calling the reverse.
God.
2 minute drill.
Oh, dude.
I think 16, man. I mean, once we got Ben in, it seems like that's when everything kind of changed for our offense.
I would agree.
Talk about your relationship with Ben and how important he was
Oh, man.
for you at those times. Because I had to grow to love Ben as opposed to like appreciating him for who he was in the beginning.
He was, for me, from the start, was unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
Guy that's played at a high level, knows the ins and outs of protections. Like, I mean, my rookie year, like, I had to go up there and like make a mic point, and like, which I was fine with, but like, I didn't understand like trying to make mic points like in the run game, and like, I'm over there like, I don't care, like the wheels of the mic, who cares, you know?
Yeah.
We do run the play.
Yeah, I know. But I never understood any of that, you know? And so getting Ben into the team, like, he controlled all that, and we were able to, like, he taught me a lot about protections. We were able to get like on the same page, and a lot of times in protections I would be like, hey, you know, he's seeing one thing, I'd be like, hey, no, go left, and he would make all the calls, everybody would switch up, and we'd be good. So I mean, Ben was heaven sent for me, and I think for all of us, really, like, he was just such a glue guy, and thankful that I was able to play with him.
Was it hard going through so many coaching changes?
It wasn't easy. I mean, but part of it is, I think, again, it's like, I was so naive to it. I was like, nah, man, like, I'll make it work. And
yeah, like whoever's in here, whatever play's called.
But looking back on it, like, I think on my this will be my 11th season, I've had 9 different play callers.
That is wild.
Yeah. And I think, like, looking back on it, like, that is kind of crazy. And this was what, 2018, we had Blaine Gabbert, BG.
Yeah.
My guy.
Watch Daddy spin it.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Just fighting for one more every year.
Just
be in the training room, he'd be lacing them up.
Blaine's awesome.
He's got a great vibe about him.
He does. And I remember we were sitting there one meeting, and he was like, yeah, this is my 8th season. This is my 8th different play call. And I was like, damn, man, it's crazy. Like, I'm on 5, and this is like 4. It's like, it's kind of crazy to think about. You know?
Talk about the transition to Washington. Feels like you found some footing there. You opted to go back. I know you were having your presser and talked about, you know, if you were to get an offer from another team, they would have had to have knocked it out of the park for you to leave, because you know, accepted, you love the role, you love the organization, you love the team. But talk about your time in Washington.
Yes, it was awesome. I mean, aside from maybe our first couple of years, like, it was probably the most fun I had in the NFL, just from a day-to-day basis. And what was really cool was when I was in free agency last year, and they called me up, like, DQ's message to, at least to me, and it sounds like it was like to a lot of other guys, was, I want to create the best environment to come play football. And I was like, okay, you know, sounds good, right? Sounds good in theory. And when I showed up there, being around Cliff, being around Tavita and the rest of the staff, like, he really created this type of environment where it's just, man, have fun, cut loose, like, be who you are, and we're going to roll and win games. And from a person standpoint, he's, like, unbelievable. Like, comes up to everybody's wife, like, kids, like, he's very personable. And I think that's where you get guys to just play hard for you. And being around him and being around the core group of guys like Zach and Bobby, and when you got a group that really just kind of enjoys being around each other, like, you find ways to win. And I think for me, somebody else, if I had an opportunity to go play, was going to have to really, like, kind of show me that was possible, because I feel like I play my best in that type of environment. And I'm fortunate, and I'm excited to be back, and I'm looking forward to kind of seeing what we can make of it.
When did you know that JD had it?
Yeah, that's funny. Everyone kind of asked me that. Like, we, you know, like, OTAs, everyone's kind of like, yeah, he looks good. Like, in camp, you know, it looks good. Everyone looks good.
Good helmet.
Yeah, you know. But I would say for me personally, it was probably against Cincinnati on Monday night. And, like, his demeanor, the moment was never too big for him. Like, he was ready to roll from the get-go. And I watched him go and just, like, dissect the defense. And it was probably, from my vantage point, probably one of the better games that I've seen a quarterback play. And whether it was running, making guys miss, to completing fourth and 5 or 4th and 6 to, like, keep drives alive, to score touchdowns, like, he was unbelievable. And I was like, if this kid can continue to do that, or kind of play in that realm, like, he's going to be really special. And he found a way kind of throughout the year to do that.
How was he in the film room as, like, a student of the game?
He's very knowledgeable. And what's been cool for me is, like, I've been able to just, like, from my past experiences, be like, hey, this is, like, something that happened to me. Just be aware of it. And, like, to see him recognize that and realize that and do maybe what not saying he was doing what I was saying, but, like, just being able to like account that type of information and use it like was really cool for me. And it's pretty spot on about how he is as a person. Like he comes in, works hard, goes about his business and moves on. And I think he's got a chance to be really good.
Is he a vocal guy?
Yes and no. And what's cool is like when you have a group of veterans, you can kind of encourage it. And towards the end of the year, you could really see it from him. And what's been nice about DQ though is he's like, we don't ever want you to be somebody else that you're not. And if you're not vocal, if you're not like, don't force it. Which I think for Jay has been really good because then he kind of like, he's able to create that type of leadership for himself and is able to relate to guys and kind of get the most out of them.
Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead. I was gonna say, what is it about DQ's culture? You talked about his intention, how he's personable, he's great with people, he goes up to wives. What is it about like his day-to-day in the season? Say you drop a game. We've all been in the locker rooms where it's like the urgency and maybe coaches kind of, the negative energy is kind of in the building. But what is it about DQ's culture on the day-to-day, like in the grind of the season? Because anybody you talk to about DQ, everybody talks about how great his culture is.
Man. We hit a stretch last year where we lost 3 in a row. Did his demeanor at all change? Not one bit. And his day-to-day is always the same. Like, you know what you're going to get on Monday. Tell the truth Monday. You go in, you get the day off on Tuesday. And it's fundamental Wednesday. It's turnover Thursday. And it's fast Fridays. And it's the same regardless if you're winning or not. So you're not showing up after blowing out whoever and getting a Monday off. Like, we're going to do the same exact thing. So regardless of how the results are, like his preparation and process remains the same. And a lot of that too, like, is not football. It's kind of wild. Like, I've never been a part of a team where on Saturday, he doesn't talk about football at all. And this is a day before the game. And you're sitting down, and I remember the first week, I'm like, I mean, should we like talk about like, hey, keys to victory or, some of these things,
Yeah.
And he has Dylan Thompson, who shout out is like unbelievable. But he goes up there and he leads like a life lesson and like a talk about how you can become better men. And for me, like being a part of the NFL for 10 years, like you never see that. It's never been about that. But when you can step aside and realize that football is just a little bit part of what you do, it's not who you are, I think you really kind of galvanize a group and guys really reacted to it. And I don't think it was any surprise for any of us in that building that how well we did and how far we went just because of DQ and what he's about.
I love that.
That is beautiful. You brought up a point that a lot of football players say a lot, which is like football is what you do, is not who you are. How do you stop that from becoming your identity for you?
Dude, I still struggle with that. And I think from my transition in Tennessee, after everything had kind of fallen apart, like I was like, didn't know what to do. Same with Atlanta. Like I was, it's funny, like you think you're able to learn from previous challenges, obstacles. And I thought I did. But when everything had happened in Atlanta, like I was like, man, this is all over again. Like I'm pretty good. Like I don't need to do this football thing. Like it's just kind of, it's tearing me apart. Like I was like over it. And it really led to me being in Philly with Howie, the GM. And I kind of started talking to some like sports psychologists. My agent had recommended one who I still talk to today. And Howie, I went to Philly after Atlanta, bro. It was like the worst camp I've ever had. I couldn't even hit a shallow route. I was like dirting flat routes, and Howie like comes over and he's like, hey man, I really just want you to like kind of dig into your mental side a little bit. And so I did. And really, I think through the course of that season, I kind of started to maybe get away from my identity as a football player and more as my identity as a husband, a father, a son, a brother. And it's so hard because I think as athletes, like we sit here and forever, that's your sport or whatever you do. That's like how you identify yourself. And you sit in these meetings, the PA does all these meetings, right? Like, oh, you're not just a football player. And you like sit there like, I know I'm not, like whatever. But like, you really don't know kind of until you have something kind of thrown in your face to realize like, oh, maybe I am really kind of identifying myself as that. So for me, like I call it an hour a week and I talk, and it's a little bit about football, like how can I get better mentally, but a lot of it's just like unleashing like things that are going on, whether it's me inside internally or like from like as a father or like just little things like that. And it's kind of crazy to think about how much these external things really affect your internal, and being able to understand that internally, if you control kind of how you feel and how you react to things, like you're going to be better for it. So I was so easy for me throughout my time, especially in Tennessee, where like I would just shoulder everything. Like you can put the blame on me, I don't care. Like I'll figure it out. And you don't really realize how much that affects you until like maybe it's all said and done. You're like, dude, like I could have been a better teammate. I could have been a better person, depending on how, it all would have played out. But yeah.
I had one and I lost it.
That's okay. That's part of putting podcast.
Yeah.
You kind of work through it.
Yeah.
What are some of your fondest memories? Because like for me, when I have you on the show, I just start racing in my brain about all the times we had in Tennessee. And then Will jumps over to Commanders. I'm thinking, like, how do I bring this back to Tennessee? And then we go to Oregon. I'm like, how do I bring this back to Tennessee? Because it was, it's because having this conversation, you realize like how it ended, how tough it was for you, but still being in Nashville this day, like every single Titans fan is like, yo, Marcus Mariota. Like everyone is still like sees you as this. When I talk to you now and you're not seeing yourself as that at that time, when everybody in Nashville is like still so proud of like 8 and they're like all about it, which to me is like says a lot about you as a player, but it also says so much about your character and how you were just talking about like shouldering things. Like I remember vividly, like when things weren't going well, I would see you, I would watch you, and you would never emotional. And I think I even said to you one time, I was like, maybe you should like show a little bit more emotion.
His wife's probably said that to him.
Yeah, yeah. But there was one specific time, and it was like towards the end where I remember we were like going out, like it was halftime, and I was like one of the last ones in the locker room, and you like let out a scream and like slammed your fist on the locker. And I remember thinking to myself, good, like he needs that. And I think we ended up going and like winning that game. Yeah. But I want us to know like kind of your fond memories, because there's been a lot. We talked about a lot of valleys here, but like it doesn't take away from like you, how good of a player you are, how much you've accomplished in your life. So I just want to roll down memory lane with you.
I like it. Gosh, one of my favorite memories in Tennessee.
Wolverine?
Huh?
13 Wolverine? Past 12 duo? Is that a fond memory for you?
Oh man,
you talking about Titans or?
Yeah. That's all I know.
It's like, how do we bring this back to Tennessee? How do we bring it here?
Yeah, how do we bring it back here?
Yeah, to me. Back here? Like 13 Wolverine?
It's the only thing I know. Yeah. Right, exactly.
Gosh, my favorite memory is probably got to be Jackson. We played Jacksonville at home to get in the playoffs. And 17 was kind of up and down year for me. Battling a lot of injuries. Like I was kind of not playing great. And we had a fumbled exchange with Derek, and Yannick ends up getting the ball and returns it for a touchdown. And I remember sitting there like, dude, no way, we're about to lose this game. Like we were at the time, I think we were like 8-4 before we went to the West Coast. Mm-hmm. And I was like, we were sitting there trying to just scratch and claw to get in. And I remember we get the ball back. We're just trying to hold the lead. And it was 3rd and 5 or 3rd and 6, and took the snap. I probably could have thrown Delaney the ball. I mean, never wrong throwing Delaney the ball. But I scrambled and I took off to the left, and I ended up getting the first down. And I remember sliding and looking up to the stand. I was trying to find my family, and I just like kind of spiked the ball. That was kind of like the most emotional thing I've ever done. You know, I was just like, for all that was going on that year for me personally, just being hurt, not playing well, like I was like, kind of threw the ball down, was like, yeah, I know I can still do this. And I remember getting that first down, and Delaney had to grab me because he thought I was going to say something to, I think it was church, maybe something like that.
Yeah, because you did do the stare down.
Yeah.
Yeah, turn and
but it was nothing 42, to him.
Right?
It was nothing to him. I just had so much emotion built up, I think, from kind of that year in 17. But that's a fond memory for me because it was like, regardless of what was going on, like we still found a way to win. Mm-hmm. And like, Delaney being there, having my back, making sure I was like not doing too much, but like, hey, we got another game to play. And like for us to get in, I don't know what it was, like maybe a while since we had been in the playoffs for Tennessee. So being able to do that at home in Nashville was was a special moment for me. And then, I mean, who can forget the Kansas City game? Like, that was wild.
Yeah, what was it, 21-3
Oh my goodness.
at halftime?
We should have never won that game.
Should have
Yeah.
never should have won that game.
Should have never won that
You
game.
threw a touchdown pass to yourself. I mean, that's
Dude, I
was like-
remember where I was when you guys came back. Like I was in my buddy John Wigger. I was in his basement. We were playing
tough
pool.
last name,
Yeah, and we were playing pool, and I remember seeing at halftime like this isn't even a game.
right?
And then by the end of it, it's like these motherfuckers came back and won.
Yes, beat them.
That's another really fond memory.
That was the coldest game I've ever played in my life.
That one was
tough.
brutal. That stretch was cold. Jacksonville at home was cold.
Jacksonville at home to
Kansas City. Then we went to New England.
got donkeyed. We got murdered.
Bro, Philip Supernall came up to me. It was like, I don't know, we were losing whatever it was. And he goes, bro, I'm open down the middle. I'm like, Philip, it doesn't matter, bro. We're getting small.
It's over. It is so done.
Oh,
That Kansas City game was awesome.
yes.
Do you ever regret whenever we tried to put in tackle eligible plays for me, you throwing the ball too fast in practice and I would drop it and then they would take
Bro,
it out?
you got a touchdown pass.
I know, but there was a lot of opportunities before then as well. And I specifically remember you rocketing a few just above my head and it felt very intentional.
It was intentional.
I knew it was intentional. There was
But it was more just a laugh at practice, but
Yeah.
then
I felt my dreams like slipping through my fingers every single time you threw that football.
Mark is saying if he can handle these, he'll get the one.
exactly. I just wanted them to build confidence, you know.
I know. I was so nervous. That's all I got.
Going back to a valley.
Can I come up real quick? So we were sitting there and we had this tackle eligible play against the Colts, and we had practiced it all week, and he had dropped it. I remember going into it. He
Every
had dropped
time.
it. And I remember coming in through the headset, and I'm like, I'm just gonna throw it at his body so he can't drop it. So I come out of the fake, and I see him go like this. His eyes are so big at me like this. And
Hey, I was so nervous.
he's never nervous about anything. And I can still remember his eyes like this. And I threw it like a little, like just at his stomach.
Like you're throwing to Rue, trying to catch a ball for the first time. Muffined it right in there. Thank you.
Turn around, scored a touchdown.
Oh yeah, dude. I can
Go.
end the podcast now. That would fire me up. We are up this episode to bring you Simply Safe. What do you want to keep safe? Right? Family, kids, your house, your car, all the things. Traditional security systems only take action after someone has already broken in. And let me be honest, that's too late. Simply Safe is setting the new standard in home security with Active Guard outdoor protection. Simply Safe's monitoring agents can help prevent break-ins before they happen. We're talking about AI-powered cameras backed with live professional monitoring agents. Monitor your property and detect suspicious activity. If someone's lurking around or acting suspiciously, those agents see and talk to them in real time. Activity spotlights and even contact the police, helping to proactively deter threats before they can escalate into a crisis. You can get 50% off your new Simply Safe system with pro monitoring and your first month free at simplysafe.com/bussin. Again, that's simplysafe.com/bussin. There's no safe like Simply Safe. Let's get back to this episode.
I'd like to dive back into a valley. Here's why. Here's why. What I appreciate so much about this conversation is you're such an accomplished athlete. Like, it doesn't matter if you're a Heisman, a second overall pick, like you've had an 11-year career, like you have an incredible life that I know you're grateful for. And having these conversations, like a lot of stuff that you consume is about everybody's highlights. And I'm appreciative that you're so transparent in these low moments, because I feel like everybody watching, like, it goes through stuff. Like when you're talking about getting benched or this happening, like in my brain, there's like something you're speaking to that I'm relating to in my journey. And I feel like everybody does that. And it doesn't matter how high you are. It's like everybody goes through this human factor of bringing it back to internal, talking with a psychologist, like getting over whatever those mental blocks are to allow your body to do what it's capable of doing. Yeah. So that's why I love like talking about the valleys and going to the time where you were talking about in Philly. Was there a moment where you're talking to your wife and talking about like retiring and not wanting to do it anymore?
Yeah.
And that was the place you were thinking about, hey, once this training camp's over,
yeah,
maybe
I
they
was
keep
like,
me, maybe they're not, but I think I'm going to hang it up.
Yeah. I mean, I was feeling that after Atlanta. Just kind of how everything transpired there. And the negative kind of, you try to say like, oh, nothing gets to you, right? Like I mean, I don't even have social media, but like that stuff was getting to me about like, oh, he's a quitter, this and that. Like and I was like, that's never been who I am, never been labeled as that. And it's like, it felt like it was attacking my character and my integrity. And so I was like, man, F this. I don't need this. Like, why would I just set myself up for that? And like after Atlanta, I had met with the sports psychologist who I'm currently working with. And, we felt like we're kind of overcoming some of these hurdles, but it's really not until you go through it again, or like you go and you're actually out there on the field, you realize like, wait, I'm not okay. Like my anxiety, like these things are still bothering me. And so really like, I mean, I was like, we had this open stadium practice when I was in Philly, and which is wild, by the way, they sell those out. So there's
the practices at Philly. How many people?
Whatever the stadium holds, I think it was like 70-some thousand people.
The whole stadium?
It was like an open scrimmage, and that really like you had open practices or whatever, but like that was the first time I had been in a stadium full of people like that since the whole thing in Atlanta. And bro, I could not throw a ball. Could not throw a ball. I was like, my fear, my anxiety, like everything was just like through the roof. And so I ended up just running around. Like I was like, they were calling plays and I was just scrambling, just trying to like move the ball. And I remember coming out of that game or the scrimmage and I was like, dude, this is not it. I don't care. I remember looking at my wife like, I'm good on this. Like I don't need it. And it just kind of, it compiled. Like I went into the next preseason game against Baltimore, did okay. Cleveland, I was like a mess. And I was like, after the Cleveland, I really thought I was going to get cut. I was playing so bad. And I was just like, almost, in my mind, I was like hoping, like, I was like, I hope they just cut me and I just like walk off with it and move on. And that's when Howie kind of sat me down after the Cleveland game, was like, hey, I'm going to try to kind of help you out here. And through that process, through that year, working with G, my sports psychologist, like I really kind of just started to separate myself from what that anxiety and that fear is. And a lot of it is external. A lot of it is like you're so worried about what maybe other people are thinking about you that you don't really realize that that's affecting who you are and what you're about. And my nature as a people pleaser, I think, kind of really sets that off. Like I naturally want to be liked. I want people to appreciate me as a person. So when something that I identify with, specifically football, isn't allowing me to do that, and people are like, man, you suck, like you're not worth this, you're not worth a shit, like then I'm like, well, if I'm not able to be liked because of the one thing that I feel I'm good at, then I'm kind of like lost. And being able to really kind of realize that and take a step away from it and be around, really, Alex Tanny was with me, like helped me through that. Brian Johnson, who's on staff with the Commanders, like they all kind of helped me through that avenue to where like I played in the last game against the Giants. Jay had gotten hurt before the playoff game. And I played okay, but like I was like the first time I can remember like telling Keone, like it was the first time I had played like somewhat free since really college. And I think a lot of that was because there was a lot of expectations when you came to Tennessee. When I got to the Raiders, like I was playing in my hometown, like there was expectations there. Then when you go to Atlanta, it's like, you're asked to be the guy there, and it just kind of does that whole thing again.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like I had to really come to terms with the fear and the anxiety that I was dealing with, and that I needed to be able to communicate those things because it did affect me and it affected how I was playing.
Take a moment to shout out your wife, because you're somebody who is probably, when you're in front of everybody else or in the locker room, you can't really see what the emotion is or what's going on with Marcus. You're a quiet guy, but I'm sure you're having these conversations with your wife through the ups and downs. And how pivotal was she through all this as an athlete too here at Oregon?
You're gonna make me cry on this podcast, and I want to do that. Yeah,
I think we've all cried, right? Yeah.
Yeah. We'll trust me. We'll cry with you. I promise.
We'll cry.
She's, I mean, everything that I could ever ask for. She was an athlete herself, which I think for us has been great because she understands the valleys and understands the peaks. And very, very fortunate. She's an unbelievable mother, which I think has made me realize how much I even love her more. Because I don't think you really realize until your significant other has maybe a child, or that you really realize like how much you really do care about them. So yeah, we've been through a lot. She is kind of the yin to the yang. I always joke that she's the social one and I'm not. She's the one that everyone likes and I'm not. But very, very fortunate, and yeah, blessed to have her in my life.
I love that.
That's beautiful.
Just wait for the tell-on.
She
seems like we got to get her on.
She's a firecracker.
Yeah.
I said a couple times before we started this podcast, I was like, you can come sit down. She's like, no, I'm good.
Yeah, we'll give you a mic.
No doubt.
Because I'm fascinated.
Kimmy, is there anything you do want to say?
Oh, there's a lot of things.
Yeah?
You can wait.
I feel like
don't
you're
let her
the
get,
one
don't
out of
don't let her
Milwaukee.
get going.
Dude,
Yeah.
congrats on 2 kids, man.
Thank you.
How did that throw a wrinkle in everything while you're going through all
Oh,
these
dude.
ebbs and flows?
No doubt.
Trying to be present at home while also trying to pour into your craft and get back, out of the funk that you were in.
For sure. I think what really kind of set me off maybe a little bit was after having Micaiah in Atlanta and had everything that had happened, I can just remember sitting there holding her and thinking about, man, I should have done this on this play, or I shouldn't have thrown this, or I wish I would have checked to this. And then I'm sitting there like 5 minutes later, like, dude, there's something wrong with this. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sitting there holding my child who's maybe a week old, and I'm thinking about decisions and plays that I did wrong. And that's when I was like really searching. That's when I ended up getting a sports psychologist, because I was like, there's nothing in this world that should take me away from her. And it was. And I was like, that's not, for me, it wasn't worth it. So they've been a great perspective for me. And I think it's really helped me kind of iron out a lot of that fear and a lot of that anxiety, because I don't want my kids to be afraid to talk about it if they do have it, right? Like, I want my kids to be able to be vulnerable and be open to having conversations, whether it's with us or with other people, because I think that's how we all internally grow. So I think for me, it's been the biggest blessing, because it's helped me kind of overcome a lot of these things that I've been dealing with.
Yeah, I love that.
Having kids changes everything.
Yeah.
And I get what you're saying too with the, like, I remember having a win, and she was born on July 5th, and then a couple weeks later I'm in camp, but I would get done with camp and I'd be thinking about tomorrow's practice,
Right.
or the film, I messed up this play.
Right.
And yeah, it's so consuming. And when football becomes that consuming, it takes away from the fun. It takes away from the reason why you started playing the game in the first place. And it's so hard to get out of that mental gymnastic of how tough, like, the smallest things can set you off when they used to not at all.
Right.
So.
Yeah, man. Because there's parts of me that feels like I got lucky having Rue, because we had our first around the same time. So I was actually about to go out to Atlanta. But even leaving, however old Rue was at that time, and feeling like, man, it kind of sucks. Like, hey, shout out NFL moms and wives that are out there.
For sure.
Because just knowing that what we pour, like talking for myself and then you probably now being out of the league, like what you have to pour into a profession like this at a level that you've obsessed about for your entire life. And knowing how that can, like, again, I feel like I'm like thankful that I had Rue kind of after the fact, because of how much you have to pour into everything at home, right. And knowing that, your unbelievable wife has to sacrifice a lot of stuff for us to chase our dream. And it's when I was thinking about going out to Atlanta or playing, it's like, damn, she's going to have to do all of this stuff that in the off season you have to help out on. You're there, you're intentional, you're all of it.
Absolutely. Well, like, I don't mean to cut you off, but like, that's like right now, right? Like, we start April 22nd, and I'm not going to move my entire family out there for 7 weeks or 8 weeks of the OTA period. So like, she's going to be here in Oregon for Monday through Thursdays by herself. And it's basically, she becomes like a single mother, right? And then I come pop in on Friday for the weekends. And, it's just, I don't think a lot of people understand like what that is and how that operates really on a day-to-day basis for a lot of these families. Cause it's not just me, I mean, guys like Zach Ertz and Bobby Wagner, like they have kids, that are on the West Coast that they're going to be traveling back and forth to.
Yeah.
And it's just, everyone kind of sees the end product on Sundays, but like it's it is strenuous on the families, and to have someone solid at home to be able to take care of those things is really important.
Yeah, it's such a unique balance of like having gratitude for being able to do something that 1% of 1% get to do,
Right.
and also being as present as you possibly can when you do get home.
Yep.
Because it's just like you got to turn that switch on.
And coming home and probably wanting to kind of talk about your day or a practice, and then you kind of like check yourself, like,
Right.
sweetheart,
On the
how's
flip
it?
side too, like I mean, Talon had to deal with that. You know, especially when I had Win. Shortly after that was like the ACL, the bad season, and so there was just like so much turmoil, and I was a shell of myself. And I would remember going like my knee would be hurting, I have a bad game or something like that, and then I'd go into the next week and have practice on a Wednesday and come home and she's like, "Oh, today was tough." And selfishly, I'm thinking to myself like, "Bro, you don't know how tough this is." Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, obviously, what they're doing is I'm truly trying to be as honest as possible about where I was mentally.
For sure.
Because I would sit there and be like, bro, this shit doesn't work. And I have to go do things that this needs to work for.
Right.
And it's just like, it's crazy how selfish you can get if you like allow yourself to.
Mm-hmm.
And definitely like towards the end of my career, I was like, I could look back at that and be like, wow, like I was very selfish about me and like everything that was going on with me, as opposed to like seeing what she was having to go through. So it's, having kids is definitely,
It's good perspective.
Yeah.
it definitely equalizes a lot of things.
Should we hit him with the Bud Light question?
We should. I want to see if Jack has any questions.
We'll give Jack a moment.
Yeah.
So people do anything for an ice cold Bud Light. Anything. What is something that you would do anything for? Families off the table. If we've learned anything about this podcast, we have to take family off the table because that's where you'll go.
Yeah.
So you got to take family off the table.
Anything.
What is something that you would do anything for?
Give me an example.
It's a great question.
Who had a good one? It wasn't Dale.
So somebody,
Yeah, Steve Ranella says, who does Meat Eater, was like, I want to do a documentary that I don't think anybody will ever care about, but I need to do the documentary. He wouldn't tell us on camera. He told us off camera, but he's like, that's what I would do anything for.
Oh, wow. I think mine's actually, it's going to be a little bit interesting, I guess, maybe for me, but I would do anything to go to, it's called the Napali Coast on Kauai, and they have these secluded beaches that you only get to by boat. And I would do anything to get there and have an empty lineup and my boogie board and fins and just be there all day and catch barrels and get shacked and not a worry in the world.
that seems like a vibe, dude.
The boogie board.
That's a good
one,
one, man.
That is solid. Jack.
It's hard to think outside of the, obviously, it's like, especially with kids and everything else,
it's like family. For sure. Yeah, I got a question. Uh-oh. See, this is the most nervous I've been all day.
No, don't. Oh, I'd love that. I have a two-part question, football related and then non-football. One, it could be from high school, college, or pros. Who is your favorite teammate you ever had and favorite coach?
Can I say these guys or no?
No, you cannot say them. It's a cop-out.
But if you were going to say, that's an option for a player.
Well, first of all, I mean, he probably has $100,000 in fines for me, so I really enjoyed my time with him. Gosh, put me on the spot because I've played with so many great guys. Yeah, it's probably my dog. Actually, he just retired, or he officially had his retirement party on Sunday.
Who's this?
Hronis Grasu. He was my center here. Congratulations to him, by the way. Got inducted into the Oregon Hall of Fame, University of Oregon Hall of Fame. I don't know how many offensive linemen are in it, but so he's probably one of very few. So we're pretty cool. But that's my guy, and been through a lot of things, up and downs. Had a great time in Oregon, but he was there with me in Tennessee. I was also there with me and with the Raiders, and just my guy. Like, special dude, special family, and now he gets to be a trophy husband. So congratulations, my guy.
Yeah. Favorite coach?
Yes, favorite coach.
Oh, man. I would say Mark Helfrich. He was my head coach here. He was also the offensive coordinator when I got here. He taught me so much more than just football, and I think to this day that's why we're so close. he lives here in Eugene. We play golf. He's had our families over. Like, he's just an unbelievable person who's been through a lot. And I think, like, being able just to have someone in your corner like that you can always rely on is special. And he probably had honestly, I could go on record and saying this, but he probably had the worst team meetings. He's a very smart guy, and he would lose probably half the room when he would go through some of his pregame speeches. But for me, he was just unbelievable, and I love him to death. And he's just one of a kind.
Amazing. All right, last question, non-football related. You're back home. You go to the gas station, build out your perfect hot plate.
Well, I wouldn't go to a gas station because I'm an EV guy, but I would say if I had – so back home in Hawaii, they do Spam musubis. So it's Spam on top of rice that's wrapped with nori or seaweed. So I'd have one of those.
That sounds brutal, honestly.
Sometimes if you get lucky,
seaweed and Spam.
If you get lucky, you can get a little egg or something else on there. It's unbelievable. No matter what you think, but it's great. And then I would probably get along the lines of, like, we call it Korean fried chicken. So they do it's like a sesame type of teriyaki sauce, and they put some chili flakes in there. So I would have that and a Spam musubi.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time.
Well, hold on. Wait. What would your hot plate be?
I've only had the experience of it once. My brother lives in Maui and has for 10 years.
Yeah.
And I want to say it was some local, just some kind of pork. It was
Yeah,
probably just some pulled pork.
probably.
Some macaroni salad,
Yep.
cold, obviously.
Yep.
And
Probably lots of rice.
yeah, I think it was just another just side of rice, and hopefully they just got some nice house sauce in there. You can just drizzle it all over. So I think that's probably a good Howley plate for me, but
It's safe. It's safe.
So
Yeah.
that's good with me. Appreciate it.
You don't have anything else, Jack?
I've got my trivia after this. But
Okay.
Oh, trivia?
Quick trivia. Jack brought up Howley's. Is there really a beat up Howley day?
My mom grew up on Kauai. They have beat up holidays. They don't have it anymore, though.
What is that? What is the...
The Howley's like white. They beat up the white
It's foreigner.
kids.
It's foreigner.
Nah, it's white. They beat
foreigner.
up the white kids.
They go to a day and get beat up?
Yeah, like you go to school and it's beat up Howley day, which, by the way,
No shit.
not even a fun name to go with it. They should have like another cool name.
Beat
like
up
Howley.
Howley Day.
Yeah.
That's
And
a
y'all
long
just
time
beat up
ago.
the
So
y'all
let's
just
say
beat
it's
up
a
the
long
whites.
time.
We got to initiate them.
Yeah. They roll the dice.
This is real.
Yeah, they roll the dice. The first dice is how many minutes. The second dice is how many people.
Don't listen to it.
Is there truth to that?
No. That's like a gang thing.
Mine's
that
are getting
one
used.
time.
Like, damn, is this for real?
Yeah. So your mom took part in that, didn't she?
She wouldn't go to school.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
Oh, when it was beat up Howley Day, she just would skip out on school.
Yeah.
That seems right. Marcus coming from that.
Yeah, he came from a good family.
Yeah.
He's got a good
Don't
family.
want no part of that.
No doubt. When it's all said and done, were you gonna live in Hawaii?
Yep. I'll be 300 pounds on a boogie board somewhere. Come find me.
I love it, dude.
Man, this has been an incredible conversation.
It's been a
I
blast.
legitimately appreciate it, man.
No,
Talking
thank you
through
guys.
the peaks and especially the valleys.
You
All
love
the
valleys.
transparency. I do. It's like,
Shows you who you are.
Yeah, and it's rare you get guys that, that want to sit in some of those uncomfortable spaces and talk about it, knowing it's going to get viewed. And that's hard for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And I genuinely appreciate it.
No, thank you guys. We got to do it on the bus, though.
Yeah.
You know?
But hey, we've been wanting to get you locked in.
It's for sure. It's been way too
since the
long.
beginning.
Way too long.
So it's like, hey, we're going to be out in Eugene. I was driving home and I just thought to myself, I wonder if for whatever reason Marcus would be out in Oregon. Because you mentioned your boy, who was it? Ryan
Flaherty.
Flaherty.
Yeah.
I remember listening to him on a podcast.
Yeah,
once.
he used to do all the Nike podcasts.
Yeah. Love his stuff. Shout out Ryan.
Yeah.
But I just remember thinking, like, I wonder if he'll be out there. You're like, yep, until the 22nd. I'm like, buddy, it's time. Yeah. Because we talk about it every year.
Every year we got to get Marcus.
Because we were with him out in, Vegas last year.
Yep.
When that little moment went down in the hotel, and I kind of had
Oh my God! Yeah, the ACDC.
I kind of had to shut it down.
That was terrifying.
That was 2 years ago. Marcus loved it. He's like, hey, I got this game. What's the game called?
It's called AC Deucey, right?
AC-Deucey, yeah.
AC
Pot.
Deucey.
Pot.
Did you tell your wife about this?
No, now you're gonna get me in trouble.
You weren't. I don't think
lost
you got.
money that day.
I think we all could. Well, we all could have lost a lot of money
who won?
if someone, if you were like, "Hey, we can't do this," everyone's like, "Yeah, let's not do this."
Because it got to a point that either Ben or somebody put their car in the middle. Because there was so much money on the table. I forget the
Well, the
rules
AC
of
Deucey, the hard part of
AC-Deucey.
AC Deucey is like it's not even really skill. It's just like what the cards come out.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's
But
like,
this round, it was going so long.
well, we kept hitting posts. So like basically, AC Deucey works is you have to get in between the numbers. So like if you get like a jack and a 2, like you want a number in between. If you go outside of that, you have to pay whatever you bet. If you hit a post, you have to double whatever you bet. So people will say like pot, and they'll hit a post. So they'll hit jack or whatever the other number was, and then they have to match the pot and double it.
Match the pot and double it.
It
And
got
there's so much money.
It got a little excessive.
Because the way he explained it, it's like, it
was
probably
tens of
wouldn't go
thousands of
over
dollars.
a couple thousand.
Winner being like, here, you take however much it was, and then we'll all take this much.
Yeah. We had to split it up. We had to like, hey, let's just get back
Was
to
that
zero
2 years
here.
ago?
That
Yeah.
was 2 years ago. That was when Aria. You
Somebody
love,
put a car.
you love the tables.
I do. I would say if there's a vice in my life, it's gambling.
Yeah, but you do it so responsibly.
I try to. Yeah.
Yeah, but I remember we would do O-line trips and you would come out and some of the boys would go out and they'd be like, yeah, I saw Marcus at 7 a.m. when I got back, just on the craps table with like $100. It's like,
Put me
hey,
on
what's up,
blast
man?
right
just love playing.
Well, have you heard about our boy?
You would love this.
He's
No.
heavy on the gambling now.
Big.
Really?
Yeah, I got caught up with Dana. And Dana was
Like
like
blackjack?
Yeah, well, it was blackjack. Now it's baccarat.
Ooh.
And dude,
Banker?
Banker depends what the screen says.
Oh.
And we're
You know?
talking how hard the hands, the limits you go?
The max.
Yeah.
So like one hand.
That's what people.
in the high roller
one
room,
hand's
bro.
30.
Yeah, I'm good on that. Catch me on the craps table.
See, the craps table is fun. I feel like it's more social.
That was back when we get some drinks, we're running the football, we're having the football
having
terms, it's
$100
$100,
bet.
$200.
Feel
Couple
crazy.
yards.
$300. I wonder what's gonna happen here.
Yeah.
That was so much fun. We were like, there was like 5 or 6 of us just
Yeah.
sitting there.
A few
It's the
$100
best.
hands.
Yeah.
It's
Then
the
we're up in
best.
the room and all that. I don't know how much cash we had, but it felt like it was like $30,000 or $40,000 in the middle. And then somebody wanted to put a car in, and nobody was hitting whatever the term was, the post or the pot, or somebody hit the pot and have to double it. And it was like, hey fellas, let's
It's really
let's just separate all this. Let's everybody get money.
Yeah, that was a terrifying.
That's right. That's right. Then he lost it that night playing blackjack.
Yeah.
Who's that, Corey?
Yes.
Yeah, Corey. The next morning we shared a room, and I come out of my room and he's just standing. We're like up there in the hotel, and he's just standing looking out the blinds, and like all I say is Corey, and he just goes. He's standing right there in his briefs, and he just goes, "Man, what are we chasing out here?"
Well, he won a good amount of money that day. And then I remember sitting there at the blackjack table like, that's all gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that the same? Did we go to Mr. Chow's that night? Was that same night?
Yeah, where we got either Chow's or pizza.
Yeah, we went to Chow's, and I think Mitch was like, "Didn't Corey win 10,000?" And Corey's like slumped in a chair, so sad. And someone's like, "Does that look like a guy that's won $10,000?" He's so sad.
We shouldn't laugh about that.
No, he's all right. Corey's doing great, man. He's
Yeah.
doing great. I think he's back with the Titans again.
Yeah, I think
Is he back?
man.
I think so.
Gosh.
He's a
kill him.
cockroach,
Can't
Was
kill
it
him.
year
Yeah.
8 or 9?
something like that, man.
I think he's
He had
going on
like
8.
He had a year he didn't even play, right? 'Cause
Yeah, I
out
think he
for a
was like
year.
in the training camp with Chicago. That's when you hit him with your built like a muffin or something.
Yeah, saved his career.
Yeah.
We were playing. This is 2020, so we were playing Risk.
And it was in the middle of COVID,
And
so
we
we're just playing
kinda
video games
banged
late
up.
at night.
I'd be in California. We play like I was like 1 a.m. where I was at, so I had to be like
Yeah.
3 where you guys were at. And we played like 3 games of Risk in a row. And Corey was talking one day, "Oh, Corey, you're built like a muffin," just like going at it.
And it got
back.
quiet. Like it was kind of awkward. Like, damn, Taylor's being kind of mean to him. Because I think Corey said something like a pencil, and he took a photo, and like,
Yeah,
hey,
you're built like
Taylor-
a pencil, Taylor. I'm like,
And then
"What are you
Taylor
talking
that
about?"
night on the mic was just ripping into him. Everybody's just kind of quiet, like, oh my god.
The next
dude.
day, like 8 a.m., sends us a photo of him at the field
Getting work in?
grinding. and
And to his
got
credit,
back to
now he looks incredible.
Now he looks
great.
better. Yeah. Now it's like, hey, Corey, like, you're welcome. Sometimes you got to bully a kid to put him on where he needs to go. Shout out Corey Levin.
Corey.
All right. Let's lock it up. You
Yeah.
feel good?
I feel amazing.
Marcus,
This is
thank
awesome.
you for coming
No,
on.
Listen to
appreciate
it
you guys,
twice.
man. Thank you.
So nice to listen to it twice.
Yeah.
Subscribe, rate 5 stars, the whole thing. Big hugs, 10 kisses.